incredibly difficult. So his loss was
Welcome
our
everyone
game,
to
right?
another
And that's
video
how
on
I
Sports
felt. I mean,
Guru's
one of
channel.
the
I
worst
am your
losses
Sports Guru.
that
I am a
I guess
little under
I
the weather today,
suffered
so I'm not
in my
going to be
fans
being
fare
as
was from a
vocal as
Miami Heat
usual.
perspective. Wasn't
So
even
just bear with
2011.
me
It
on
was
that one,
2014
everyone.
because that cost us LeBron, right? And I felt like
Yeah, but you didn't know it
that
in the
was the
moment.
year. You kind of, you didn't know it, but I kind of knew it. You know, I didn't feel great about our standing with him at that point, and it felt a little bit like we were going to lose him then, which 2011 clearly did not at any point feel like that. So I almost think that the 2014 one was a little worse.
The worst I've ever felt was it was after with all my favorite sports teams, and I'm a Miami guy, so I love all the Miami teams. The worst I ever felt was the Heat lost with Shaq in the Eastern Conference Finals in '05, and I remember the next day driving into work, just like Lions fans are driving into work the next day, just like Ravens fans are driving into work the next day. But I'm driving into work the next day, and I am crushed. My soul is crushed, my heart, and I remember driving to work in the morning, and I'm like, I'd rather be anywhere but going somewhere where I'm forced to talk about this pain that I'm feeling right now. I gotta think it's the worst a Lions fan has ever felt, right? Definitely really bad for Ravens fans, but they've won a couple Super Bowls. It's gotta be, and look, if you measure up the two losses, I think the Ravens lost worse. But I think the Lions fan is crushed, and I don't know how long that's gonna last for.
Which is weird because they should feel better. I mean, really, with what they accomplished. I mean, the reason that they're crushed is because they were finally in a position to care, right? They finally had something to give a darn about in the postseason, and they finally had real hope and belief that that team could make it to a Super Bowl. That's something that they hadn't experienced, a lot of them, in their entire lifetimes, quite literally. So the reason it hurts so much is because it felt so good at one point. Amber and Ian is
Give up
presented by
8
Progressive Insurance.
freaking
Drivers who switch and save
touchdowns.
with Progressive save nearly $750
This guy
in
one
cash.
had
So Amber,
5.
what is your worst loss that you have experienced as a sports fan? 888 say ESPN 888-729-3776. For me, I think I would have to go with my Florida Gators because I bleed orange and blue. And for me, growing up particularly, I bled orange and blue. And when you're a kid, I think all of this stuff feels 10 times worse too, because you don't have the life perspective that sometimes, for some of us anyways, comes with sports as you age. Maybe not.
Well, and you didn't grow up with pro teams, so the Gators, the school
Gators
was
were life.
everything.
Everything. I mean, it's the whole reason I'm sitting here. I mean, Gators football was everything to me. It was. I say it was the first love of my life, and it truly, truly was. The 1996 Fiesta Bowl, which was the Gators' first shot at a national title, and they got absolutely worked by that
you're
Nebraska
a teenager.
team.
What are you, a freshman in high school at that point? Or are you maybe in your last year of middle school?
96. No, my 96. I would have still been in middle school.
All right, so maybe like last year of middle school, and
So
so
we don't need to get too specific. You know.
all right, I mean, I didn't ask you your weight here. All right, so I mean your age. It's not that big a deal. All right, everyone was once 14 years old. All right.
I graduated high school in 2001, so you do the math. 1996, I was in middle school. And yes, it was Florida, Nebraska. Nebraska was Tommy Frazier's team. You remember that damn Cornhuskers team?
Yeah.
That, like, I don't even know how they lost a game between 1993 and 1996. They were so good back then.
So how long does it take 13-year-old Amber to recover? Because I'm also interested in that from the Lions fan especially, but also the Raven fan. Like, how long did it take you to recover from the devastation? Like, what was the rest of your you got to go to school the next day, or do your parents let you stay home from school? Like, what was it like?
I'm not. Did I ever recover from it? Am I recovered from it now? I don't
Okay,
know.
so
If
I
I'm
already
fully
finished
recovered
up
from
that
it. I mean, I've had,
formation. I just wanted to check.
going on to win other
Time to go into the
national
Tampa Bay
Yeah, I think that's when you
Buccaneers
recover. That's when you recover.
So
formation.
But can I also say something about the Lions fan and
when
the
you
Ravens
finally
fan?
win a Super Bowl, you'll be good. I mean, that's so bleepy to say.
If I can also
This
say
is so
there's a
shitty.
major difference
Wait.
between what the Lions fan is going through and what the Ravens fan is going through, there's going to get to a point where the Lions fan is going to look back on this season very, very, very fondly. They're going to realize this was an amazing year. I really loved this experience. The Raven fan's not going to feel that way about this season. The Raven fan's never going to feel that way about this season. This season will only be looked back upon as a massive failure, and eventually the Lions fans can look back and be like, "Damn, that was so
awesome.
good. It was so good."
It's why I think the Ravens loss is so much worse, because I get that here on Tuesday, 2 days removed, Lions fans aren't ready to do that, but I wholeheartedly agree with you that they're going to look back on this thing fondly overall. The hell of a ride that it was. And it was. And they'll look back on it incredibly fondly, especially if they end up competing in the postseason here over the next few years. Not even necessarily winning a Super Bowl, but if they tend to be one of those teams that's...
Welcome to week 4 of the 2026 NFL season on the Madden NFL 2023 simulation
So we
season.
will see what happens. But with the Ravens, they were supposed to, right?
200 yards.
And it's going to be an embarrassing MVP award that is handed to Lamar Jackson. It's going to be like Dirk Nowitzki in 2007, where the Mavs were the best team and he was undisputed MVP that year. They lost in the first round to the Cleveland Warriors, and they hand him his trophy in the second round, like via satellite, because he's not playing anymore. Like, that's what it's going to feel like.
So coming up next year on Amber and Jonathan Sadler filling in for Ian tonight, we will take your phone call. What is the worst loss that you have ever experienced as a sports fan? 888 say ESPN 888-729-3776. That's next year on ESPN Radio.
This episode is brought to you by Allianz Travel Insurance. Are you planning 2 or more trips in the next 365 days? An All Trips annual travel insurance plan can protect all your adventures for less. Get a quote at AllianzTravelInsurance.com.
A man has been murdered on the ship, and the killer is among us.
A murder? Ooh.
We're fortunate to have on board the world's greatest detective.
Everyone on the ship is hiding something.
Preposterous. It can't be me.
The joke's on you.
You know something bigger is going on.
That is what I am here to find out.
What have we learned?
A lot. Just not, who done it.
Death and other details. Now streaming only on Hulu.
Reveling in the misery around here tonight on ESPN Radio. Amber and Ian. Jonathan Zaslow is filling in for Ian tonight. The Ravens and Lions fans, some of them may feel like they just witnessed the worst loss that they've ever witnessed as a fan on Sunday. And we are asking you, America, what is the worst loss in your entire fandom that you have ever experienced? 888 ESPN 888-729-3776. Jason is calling us from Phoenix. Hey, Jason, what's your worst loss?
You know what? I'm from Detroit, and so this is probably the second one here, but the worst one was in '88 in the finals when the Pistons lost to the Lakers in Game 7.
Now, it only took the Piston fan a year to get over it, because then you won back-to-back.
Yeah, and I think that's the barometer here, because we were having a conversation about when do you get over it. And I think
I shouldn't have silly.
Over it depends on what happens in the future. So I don't know if there's any indication how long this thing is going to go for either the Lions fans or the Ravens fans.
Lions fans never felt this way before.
Right. Most of them have never felt this way. But there's also a beauty in that. That's good, right? I mean,
I like the defensive rule in which you must get the ball over the goal line so you don't fumble. I like that rule.
That isn't disappointed, but in terms of the conference championships, obviously there's only 2 that aren't disappointed. The Lions fan got that far, right? And so can they get over that hump next time? Fine. But you want to be, listen, you and I haven't seen our Miami Dolphins win a playoff game, guys, in what, 24 years? Like, I would love to be disappointed in the AFC Championship. Give me that disappointment at this point.
You're asking to have your heart ripped out. I'm not going to do that. I'm not trying to have my heart ripped out of my chest. It'd be nice to have an I think it'd be nice to have an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, if that's what you're saying. But I'm not inviting, this feeling that Lions fans and Ravens fans are going through right now.
Better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. By the way, that is a bunch of full parts. In some scenarios, this is not good advice. 888, sometimes it's better not to have loved. 888, say ESPN. Alan. Hey, sometimes that's happening.
Oh.
Alan is calling us from Cleveland, Ohio. Alan, what's your worst loss?
Man, you know, when you start talking about loss and misery, a Cleveland fan has
you got a list. We don't have enough time for you, Alan. You got a whole list.
I'm gonna give you the first one. The first one,
wow.
when I was a kid, I'm old enough to remember when Ernest Finer fumbled on the 1 yard line. That was a heartbreaker. But I was so young, like you said, I didn't understand it, and it just hurt. I remember crying my eyes out. But in 2016, right after the Cavs won the championship, we thought we were going to double up with the Indians in the World Series. And we were up 3-1 on the Chicago Cubs. I was actually at the Game 7, surrounded by nothing but Chicago Cubs.
And weren't you ahead in the 9th inning, too? You guys had the lead in the 9th, right?
Well, we tied it up in the 9th. Off of a big home run. We tied it up 5-5. And here we are. The momentum was swinging our way. All the fans were going crazy. We looked at the Cubs fans. You could see the misery on their face because they were just like Indians fans. They were used to
Davenport in the street.
In big moments. And can you believe it? The rain comes. And the rain delay stopped our momentum. The rain lasted probably 10 minutes. But it stopped our momentum. And there's a story of this like rousing speech that happened in the Chicago Cubs locker room. And they came back out the rain delay and won the game.
So I'm interested, Alan, how long did it take you to recover from it?
This is totally fair because he did just get a title from the Cavs the same year. So I feel like that lessens the pain a little bit.
You know what? For all the heartbreak we've experienced in Cleveland, we had gone over 50 years without a title. We felt like we were owed a couple. And so we thought that just double up would just kind of wipe away all the pain. And no, it did not. I'm still struggling from it because, again, I was there. I witnessed it. It's stuck in my memory forever. Until the Tribe gets one or the Browns get one, it's going to stick with me. I'm still not over it.
Thanks for the call, Alan. We appreciate you. 888 ESPN. The Cleveland story is always a good one. San Diego has had some heartbreak as well. That is where Don is calling us from. Hey, Don, what's your biggest heartbreak?
Hi, Amber. Thanks for taking my call. Just quickly, I want to say that as an intellectual, I love listening to you speak. You're brilliant, and your words are well put together. It's a pleasure. For me, I became a fan in 1979, and Cowboys were the reigning Super Bowl champions, and this was going to make us the greatest team in history, even though we still are. That loss that we lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl, I still blame Jackie Smith. Walter Staubach, he has switched class. I don't have the problem. I still blame him, but gosh, that still hurts to this day as a Cowboy fan.
Good one. There's quite a few heartbreaks that Cowboys fans could reference, but at least then you were in them. For me, though, what would Cowboys fans, would they kill to be in a Super Bowl right now?
You know what, Amber?
Losing a Super, even if it's not losing.
You know what? I'll tell you the way that I look at that. And we had, with the Miami Heat, they've been in the finals twice the last 4 years. The Panthers were in the Stanley Cup final last year. For me,
so far,
Thomas.
Amazing. But for me, I'm a lot less heartbroken when my team loses in the championship round than if they lose before that. I wonder if that makes sense to people because I feel like if you get to the championship round, okay, we're here. We did it. We have the opportunity. Let the best team win. If you lose before that, you feel like, man, we should have had that opportunity. We were good enough to get there. To me, it hurts more falling short of the championship round than even being that close and not winning the whole thing. That's how I
tend to agree, but I think it's based on expectations. Because you and I have warm, fuzzy feelings about what the Heat have done here over the last 4 years, but also because you and I didn't expect the Heat, with these versions of the Heat, frankly, to be in an NBA Finals. So when they were able to do that on the back of Jimmy Butler and then they lost, it was like, that was a hell of a run, right? They left it all on the floor. What else could they have done? That's a very different experience than we had in 2011 or in 2016.
Fry.
I don't look back fondly at either of those.
Yeah, you don't feel fondly about those runs. So I think some of it is based on expectations and personality. Brad is calling us from Texas. Hey, Brad, what's your worst loss?
1993, Houston Oilers at the Buffalo Bills, 35-3 in the third quarter, and Jim Kelly is not the quarterback. It is Frank Reich who engineers the largest comeback in NFL playoff history, and we have never, as a Houston franchise, been to a Super Bowl.
I remember, Amber, exactly where I was watching that game. I was 11 or 12 years old. Matter of fact, the Bills went on to go to the Super Bowl, obviously. Go to the Super Bowl. They beat the Dolphins. The championship round, the last time the Dolphins were ever in a championship round was that year. That team
Right,
that
bro.
Frank Reich that beat the Houston Oilers 35-3. I remember exactly where I was watching it.
That's how you know it's a brutal loss. Kevin is calling us from Kentucky. Kevin, you got 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm calling from Kentucky. I'm a UK basketball fan and a Las Vegas, formerly Oakland Raiders fan. So I got two of them for you, Leitner and Tough Rule. Can it get much worse than that?
No.
Man, there is a lot of heartbreak lining up on our phone lines. I wish we had time to just continue to revel in all of this heartbreak. I wonder if it's making Lions and Ravens fans feel a little bit better.
Yeah, we're a community. We're having a meeting, all right? Come over here. We're all going to talk. You don't have to speak if you don't want to, and we're all going to go through it together.
It's a community of misery. Coming up next, there's plenty to unpack around the NFL. The Lions coaching staff appears to be staying together. That's next on ESPN Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, with all due respect, it was a choke job. This is
Much
called what
better.
it is. What is the definition of a choke job? It's doing what you always do until the moment arrives, and then you don't.
Lamar Jackson is not the same in the postseason as he is in the regular season. Simple as that. He is worse.
He's the reason why they lost this game. When we start outlining, or we do the pie chart, when we start assigning blame for why the Ravens lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, Lamar is going to have the biggest slice of the pie.
With all due respect, better than Stephen A. Smith. It cracks me up when I hear, with all due respect, it was a choke job. That is the most Stephen A. thing ever said. With all due respect, Lamar completely blew it. But with all due respect,
you know something really bad is coming whenever he says with all due respect.
Yeah,
for sure.
whenever he's about to eviscerate somebody or some team, when he says,
Oh, you gotta be fucking serious.
Has anyone ever said with all due respect and then not said something super disrespectful?
No. That's how you have to get away with it, though. You gotta set it up like that. So with all due respect, ESPN NFL analyst Andrew Hawkins joins us here on Amber and Ian. Jonathan Zaslow filling in for Ian tonight. And Hawk, thanks so much for your time. We were taking calls last segment on the worst loss that fans have experienced, because these are some brutal losses that Lions fans and Ravens fans just experienced. So I'm guessing, I know it's always a little bit different with players. A lot of players aren't crazy fans like the rest of us. I don't know if you have a heartbreaking loss as a fan. But what about as a player? What was your worst, most heartbreaking loss ever throughout your entire football career?
Worst, most heartbreaking loss was wild card playoff 2013 against the San Diego Chargers in Cincinnati. We had a home game. We had our best team in Cincinnati in like a decade. I believe we were maybe 11 or 12 win team at the time. Had a home playoff game. We didn't even sell the stadium out, and the Chargers traveled all the way from San Diego and knocked us off in the first round. I grew up a Bengals fan. So I grew up a Bengals fan, rooting for the Bengals my whole life, my first NFL team, and this is a moment where it was all stacked in our favor, and we took an L, and I'm still not over it.
You see, I love that you say that, Hawk, because fans
Jonathan.
like hearing that, man, from players. Fans take the losses so hard, and not that anyone wishes you to feel terrible about something, but I think fans like knowing, or at least thinking, that the player is just as affected as they are.
No, for sure. I think it varies because, this is a unique scenario because how many players actually
try again on the hill
professionally for their childhood team. That was my reality. So there was like a little bit of an extra oomph for me being a Bengal after, again, spending my whole life rooting for a team that was not very good in my younger years. So I did have a little fan in me as well as a player, but I think for the majority of players, you feel that anguish that fans feel after loss whenever you don't perform well because you put so much into it to go out there and play at your best. So typically, if I go out...
Did he just lose Hawk? I think he just dropped. So we will try to get Andrew Hawkins back on with us. It's interesting. I wondered, Dazzler, if he was going to go with something that happened in high school to him or childhood. Because with professional athletes, you never know because of what you just alluded to. Is it a job to them?
Right.
Or is it hyper emotional? Because it's easy to say, but at the end of the day, you know, they're getting paid for their job, right? The paycheck's still cashing at the end of the day, even if they lose that game. And of course, they all want to go on and they all want to win. But I wonder if you're in it, you know how hard it is because you have better perspective, frankly, than fans on how difficult it is. If the heartbreak from that perspective for some players is lessened, but in something like high school football, it's probably you probably don't have that perspective.
I like. Hawk says he still feels bad today, but that's also because he grew up a fan. That's a funny one too. Like when he goes home and his entire family, like, are they also Bengals fans? They're like all so upset of it. Like, I was in this thing. All right, you're upset. I'm upset. I'm in it, and we lost.
Oh, I think so. I would imagine that these former players are so annoyed by us, you and me even, if we stood up here and we're like, oh man, we're so heartbroken. The Dolphins got tossed in the wild card. It's like if you played in the game, you're like, you're heartbroken. I was one out there putting my butt on the line each and every play. How are you heartbroken? At least for you and I, we're so emotionally invested in this stuff as fans, but we're not physically invested in this stuff. And I would imagine that probably takes it up a notch. I don't know if you have much experience being physically invested in things, Dazzler.
I don't know why you're saying something like that. I mean, so I'm going to try not to take it as disrespect.
Oh, with all due respect. I don't know.
It doesn't work in reverse. It wasn't going to work if you prefaced it with that either, but it definitely doesn't work in reverse.
Stephen A. Smith's playbook, with all due respect.
With all due respect, you should be.
With all due respect. All right, it's not respectful what you're about to say.
With all due respect, your performance was a disgrace.
The best. That's why he's the best. That's why he makes so much money here. 888 say ESPN if you want to join into the conversation about what worst loss you have ever suffered as a fan.
Macintosh hit me with like the nastiest.
Ryan is giving us a call from Denver. Ryan, what's your worst loss?
So February of 2015, I was in Vegas with my fiance and my parents looking at wedding venues because we were going to get married there. And my buddy called me and said he had an extra ticket to the Super Bowl, so I rented a car and drove to Phoenix and watched the Seahawks throw an interception on the 1-yard line.
Oh, that was brutal. Being there in person, I guess, makes it feel that much more. And we've had several callers say that the worst loss because they were there, right? We had the guy from Cleveland call in. Well, yeah, I got the Cavs championship that season, but it was the Indians loss. I was so much because I was there.
Being there is so bad because, and this is why I refuse to take trips as a sports fan to see my team play on the road. Because if they lose in that game and you spend all the money, the airfare, the hotel, the tickets to go to the game. By the way, has anyone checked what the tickets are so far in the secondary market for the Super Bowl? I mean, you have to sell a kidney. You have to go to the black market and sell organs to afford these Super Bowl tickets. But I'll never understand, you go to a game that your team loses, and then you're leaving the stadium, and then people are like, but you know what, I still had a great time. To me, that's not a great experience. When you go to the game, and your team ends up losing, let alone in a heartbreaking fashion, that's not fun to me. No, that's not fun to me. I don't get it.
You can't go to games expecting to win them. You know, last year, I went to Buffalo, right, to watch the Dolphins play the Bills in Buffalo. I had never been to Orchard Park. I had never been to Buffalo, New York, period. It was so fun.
Cold. I mean, they live on the wall in Game of Thrones. So cold.
It was very cold, especially for us Floridians. I loved it, but I also love traveling cold places because, you know, I've lived here my whole life. It's fun in snippets. In snippets, it's fun. Shoveling snow.
Oh my god.
You don't have to shovel it though if you just visit it. So I thought it was a very fun trip. I really enjoyed the town of Buffalo.
You enjoyed watching the team, your team lose like that?
And that's the thing about it. Overall, I wouldn't change a second of that trip other than, sure, the result. It would have been hella more fun had the Dolphins won. But don't forget, we were playing well with, like, Skylar Thompson under center. What am I going to be upset that we lost that game? I'm shocked we were in that game. And I couldn't have flown to Buffalo expecting to win that game. That's a fool's errand. When I made the decision to buy the plane tickets and spend the money on the Airbnb, I had to know that there was a significant risk there involved with us losing. And we did, but I made such a fun trip out of it. It was fun. It was a hell of an experience. It was cool being in that stadium. I just love sporting events. So I would go to every away game, frankly.
That's not fun to me. And maybe it has to do with because after the loss, at least you're getting on the plane and you're sitting, you know, in the mint section at the front of the plane. I'm sitting in the middle seat and coach on the way back. That's what I'll have to look forward to.
Not true. I was not flying first class. I was with my kids. Settle down. I did in college take a road trip with my brother and a bunch of our friends, and we rented an RV.
That's a little different in college. That's different.
No, but this was bad. We rented an RV and we drove all the way to Starkville, Mississippi, for the Gators to play Mississippi State. And Mississippi State beat us. I listened to the damn cowbells the entire time. That is a horrible experience. You listen to cowbells, it goes down.
Ow!
They stormed their own field and ripped down the goalpost while we stood there and watched. And we were supposed to sleep in this RV, all like piled on top of each other in this RV. We were so depressed, we drove through the night to Biloxi, Mississippi, so that we could gamble. 888 say ESPN. That's how you tell us about your worst losses as a fan. CD is calling us from Hot Atlanta. Hey, CD, thanks for the call. What's your worst loss?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's probably going to be easy for you guys to figure out. But, you know, and I've never called into a radio station ever. But when I heard this topic come up, I just terror and nightmares started coming back up. So I
already know what it is.
I just felt the urge to call in. And it's the 28-3.
I figured.
28-3. No, that's exactly what I was going to guess. How could you? It makes all the sense.
Yeah, that game. You know, I'm Atlanta everything. So Hawks, Braves, Falcons, and I'm a Georgia Tech fan. So there's a lot of heartbreak in all of those teams, and a lot of losses that stayed with me for a day, 2
What?
times 3. But that 28-3, I've never experienced a loss that affected me so terribly, and it was
unrecoverable.
Yeah, and it lasted with me for a couple weeks. In Atlanta Sports Talk, what made it worse, because I listen to Sports Talk every day, Atlanta Sports Talk, they all felt it. The whole city felt it. And all anybody talked about for the next couple weeks was that loss and how devastating it was.
You see, that's another thing.
I mean, anytime somebody brings it up, or I hear something about that game come up on Sports Talk, because it always comes up, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, it always comes up because it's one of the worst losses any of us have seen. I mean, I am not a Falcons fan, and I felt terrible after witnessing that for days, right? That's one of those losses that just you remember. So, CD, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So how long? So you said it took you a few days. Were you over
you said
in
a few weeks?
Well, no. So it was a couple of. There was a couple of weeks of just like this weight and sadness. Like I said, with all the sport talk and everything.
He stayed home.
I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, and it's one of those things that still stays with you because anytime it comes up, you feel it again.
Well, you see, that right there, Amber, is what makes it infinitely worse because that's what we call in the Zazzle nation. That's what we refer to as a forever loss.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to forget about it. 28-3. Everybody knows what you're talking about. And Patriot fans and probably rival fans, they're going to be able to throw that in your face literally for the rest of your life.
So many, those guys. They've had so many. But right when CD started talking, I knew exactly what he was going to say. By the way, shameless plug, since CD was calling from Hot Atlanta, my brother opened the biggest card store in the country in Atlanta, right next to the Braves Stadium. He collects sports cards, Cards HQ. There you go. Shameless plug. It's my show. I can do what I want. It opens in 2 days. We will continue with your phone calls. 888 say ESPN. What is the worst loss you have suffered as a sports fan? Plus, Kendrick Perkins has said some crazy stuff today. What is the craziest thing that Kirk has said? That's next. This is ESPN Radio. Kendrick Perkins floated the idea of some crazy trades as we head towards the NBA trade deadline today. We will get into crazy things said by Kendrick Perkins just today alone, right here.
I like this segment.
We're gonna. I want to turn it into something. Crazy things Perk said. Imaging forward and rank the things out 1 to 10 on a scale of craziness or whatever. We could have a lot of fun with this thing because Perk's never afraid to float the ideas, and he floated some ideas today that I haven't frankly heard anybody else to talk about. Jonathan Zaslow, he is filling in tonight for Ian Fitzsimmons here on Amber and Ian, presented by Progressive Insurance. Speaking of the NBA, we've got it right here on ESPN Radio. Lakers at Celtics, that game tips off Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, so no Amber and Ian on Thursday. Lakers at Knicks Saturday. That game tips off 8 p.m. Eastern. Both of those games right here on ESPN Radio. 888 say ESPN. We were taking your phone calls about what's the worst loss you have ever suffered as a fan. Brandy is kind enough to call us from Sacramento. Hey, Brandy, what's your loss?
Hey, how's it going, Amber and Jonathan? Oh, man, the Sacramento Kings losing against the Lakers, and I believe, I'm bad with years, but I believe it's 2002. A lot of these guys tried to do the Magic Johnson, flip the ball down at the other end of the court.
Yeah.
Good old Robert Horry intercepted the ball and shot that dagger.
Yeah, and that was, what, game 4, because it made the series 2-2. Sacramento was going to go 3-1.
Well, damn.
And it didn't get any better for you guys the rest of the way, because you had that game 7, where there was like 1,000 fouls called on the Kings, and the Lakers committed 0.
That's a rough one. Absolutely. A heartbreak, an NBA heartbreak. Well, Kendrick Perkins wants to break Warriors fans' hearts because he's pretty convinced the dynasty of Golden State is over. A lot of people pretty convinced of that this season. Right now, they're sitting at 12.
Of convincing right now.
Sitting at 12 in the Western Conference, 19 and 24. They ain't good, okay? Steph Curry is on that team. He's very, very good. But Kendrick Perkins thinks that he should go somewhere else. Take a listen to Perk on the Pat McAfee show today.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what could be magic, right? The Lakers are struggling. The Warriors are struggling.
No.
I mean, people just keep saying that Steph would never do it. But I just want to know how much is Steph going to take with the Warriors struggling, with all the distractions, with everything that's going on, before he had that conversation with the front office and say, hey, what are we doing? Does Steph have the kahunas to say, I want to get traded? Boy, him and Bron James and Steph Curry, wouldn't that be lovely?
Adam Silver just stood up in his skims and was like, wait.
But he wouldn't do it. But Steph wouldn't do it because Steph is not that type of guy. He is Golden State. He's not a vocal type of guy, but it makes so much sense to me.
You know, it's Amber. To me, it's not about.
And I'm in the zone, baby.
Out. I think if anything, it takes guts to step to have the city, the organization, to be one of those guys.
Yeah, you know you're not catching this one. Goodbye.
Who played, close to 20 years, all for one team, and in this instance, it's not even like a guy like Reggie Miller, who only played for the Pacers and never won. Curry's won 4 times. It's not exactly like, oh, guys, I deserve to get out of here. Okay, what do you mean deserve to get out of here? Everything's gone fantastic. It's not your birthright to compete for a championship every single year. I think, honestly, at this point in Steph Curry's career, I think it means more to him to finish out his entire career with the Warriors than it would be to ask out at some point. Obviously, Perk does not mean this year. To ask out at some point to chase what will be a 5th, championship ring. I think it takes guts to not ask out when you get there.
If Steph Curry wanted to do what LeBron has done and control his destiny by you leave Miami at the end of your contract, you leave Cleveland, you sign those one-year deals, right? You go to the Lakers. Like, he has chosen to leave franchises, but he's also structured his deals in a way to be able to do so, and he's provided himself that flexibility. If Steph wants to leave the Warriors in a couple of years, he's only got a couple of years left on his deal, then I don't think that would be that crazy, because he has accomplished everything you can accomplish there, and maybe he's not thrilled. But asking out, you're right, that's typically the player who hasn't won anything. That's typically the Damian Lillard of the world, or whomever, where you're on a team and you are yourself a superstar, but you can also see the writing on the wall that you're not going to be able to win an NBA title there, and you're getting older, and the franchise needs to go in a different direction, so it makes sense for everybody. That's a bit of a different situation than the one Steph's in, where he won a hell of a lot of things there with Golden State. So you're right. It's not his birthright to just win titles. It would be fun, though, to see him pair up with LeBron James. That would certainly be a hell of a way for the story to end for both of those guys. Kendrick Perkins also said some crazy stuff about our Miami Heat.
My thing is with Jimmy Butler, yes, we know what he means to the Heat culture. We know how great of a coach that Eric Spoelstra is. I
Jumping down the
understand they had
flag.
a magical run. I get that. But the writing is on the wall. They're showing the signs right now. Like, I'm picking 3 teams right now over the Miami Heat that are going to make it, that could beat them in a 7-game series. And I'm saying Jimmy is 34. We cannot waste the rest of his prime waiting
You're
to see
fucking
if the
serious.
Miami Heat is going to be a sleeper team in the Eastern Conference.
Okay, Perk has me hot now. He has me hot with that
She
take.
said,
We are up against it. So I feel like we need to bring that take back, and we need to actually give that take its due. It's, what, a 7-game skid right now for the Heat? It has looked really bad, Zaslow. But that take, now that Kendrick Perkins is on national television telling the Heat to trade away Jimmy Butler, that certainly makes it worse. So coming up next here on Amber and Ian, we are going to go back to the NFL. There is a lot to unpack with this loss for the Detroit Lions. Are Lions fans ever going to get over this thing? Should they feel good about Ben Johnson sticking with that team? That's next. Later in the show, we will react to more crazy things that Kendrick Perkins said here on ESPN Radio.
Huh. Watching Kyle's unboxing videos again?
Yeah, he always finds the coolest... No way! A robot dog? Gotta ask where he got it.
Or use your Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Just draw a circle around the dog on your screen, and it shows you where to buy it right in the app.
Whoa, I just learned a new trick. And that for once, I beat Kyle to the next big thing.
Circle it, find it with the new Galaxy S24 Ultra and circle the search with Google. Get yours now at Samsung.com. Internet connection required. Results may vary based on visuals.
Ben Johnson is going to remain with the Lions. So, look, at the end of the day, Detroit is winners here. There is a lot of hope in that city moving forward because of what we saw from the Lions this season, even if there's some disappointment coming off this past weekend. Amber and Ian presented by Progressive Insurance. Jonathan Zaslow filling in for Ian tonight. Let's bring in some help with the Lions conversation. Glover Quinn, Believe in the Lions on Believe host. You can check out his podcast, plus, of course, former Lions safety, kind enough here to join us. And Glover, thanks so much for your time again. This obviously was a very disappointing one. We're going to get to the coaching decisions and all of that, but let's just start with that news that Ben Johnson, he's going to stay with the Lions. He's pulled his name out of the hat for head coaching jobs. How important is it, do you think, to keep this staff together moving forward?
Oh, man, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. But I think it's very important, you know, continuity amongst the staff, amongst the offense, amongst the team is, you know, very, very, very big deal. When you change your coordinators every year, you're having to learn new terminology, new offenses, or defenses, whatever it may be.
Get off me.
Continue with the same offense, the same system, and just be able to grow from where they were this year. I think the offense would be that much better going into next year.
Glover, what would be your guess as to what happened at the last minute there? You know, was it, hey, I'm not feeling the Commanders, I got to get out of this, or Lions come in, swoop in, and say, listen, we're gonna add an extra zero on the end of your salary. Like, what do you think ended up happening here?
I don't know, you know, and those things happen pretty fast. So, you know, they just played on Sunday, and it's Tuesday, and he's already interviewed and pulled his name out the hat. So that kind of tells me either the Lions just came in and swooped him and made him something that he couldn't resist. But,
you know, you're going to be a head coach at some of these other places. So, you know, to turn down a head coaching gig to stay, you know, as a coordinator, it's either a really great situation and he just don't want to leave it. Those two teams maybe wasn't a fit. I don't really know exactly what happened. I'll be interested to do a little research and, you know, reach out to a couple of my sources and see what was the deal.
We were reporting that his asking price scared off some of the teams that were searching for a new head coach. I know there were reports circling out there from, I think, Sportsline HQ over on CBS that he was asking something like $15 million a year.
Know your value. Know your worth.
That kind of compensation as a head coach. I don't know. What we do know is what Glover just said. I mean, he couldn't even interview until after Sunday, and then all of a sudden it's Tuesday, and he's already informing the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Commanders that he is going to, in fact, stay with the Detroit Lions. I feel like that's a big win, though, frankly, for Detroit. Glover Quinn, Believe in the Lions on Believe Host podcast, former Lions safety, joining us here on Amber and Ian. All right, let's get to the dirty stuff here, Glover. I mean, we got to talk about what happened in the game. And I mean, there's never been more made about a field goal in maybe the history of America. But how did you feel about the aggressive coaching from Dan Campbell and him kind of staying true to his brand, even in the biggest moments when it can cost him?
You know, the first fourth down field goal try, I was okay with that one, I guess. Now, in the moment, but looking back, you can understand that one. You know, maybe you're trying to just stretch the lead even more. I think you were up 14 at the time. I can somewhat be okay with that one. The second one, that's
Yamada
5 or
and
6 minutes left in the game, and you're trailing by 3 points. I think in that situation, you got to go ahead and take the points and tie it up, and at least give yourself a chance at overtime, worst case scenario, or at least give yourself a chance to have some type of game tying or winning drive. Because even if you score, they go down and score. Okay, well, you're down by 7 or you're down by 3. You should have one opportunity left. But to not get points there, and then you go down and give up a touchdown, that generally kills it. But another thing that, you know, happens is when you're playing in a game like that, you're up 17 points. So they came out, they get a field goal. You come down, if you kick a field goal, you're still at a 17-point lead, and you just kind of take the momentum. The second half, I was at the game. You could feel the momentum just changing. San Francisco scored. We came down. They got the stop. Fourth down, when we didn't get it, it was like deflation from the Lions, and the 49ers, they were on another level. They go down and score, you're definitely feeling the pressure. Then you get the kickoff, and then we fumble the next play. It's like, oh, man, the wheels are falling off. And so I think that during those moments, sometimes, hey, kicking a field goal, you put some points on the board for your offense.
I do need to check
kind
the
of
scores.
start the momentum, slow it down a little bit, and give yourself a chance. I think maybe he got caught up on that. You know, this is what we do. This is what we do. You know, in that moment, you got to understand how to control the game, and you're just trying to get your team to win. It's not about this is what I do, my ego or no ego or whatever it is. It's what's the best for the team in that situation. And, you know, that's what I think. But Dan Campbell's the coach. That's the decision that he made. You know, you win some, you lose some, and this situation didn't play out.
Glover, what goes through the player's mind who is in the game when these decisions are being made to go for it instead of taking points? Like, I understand, especially during the regular season, you love the whole nice, our coach believes in us. He thinks we're going to pick it up. But when the stakes are so high like this past Sunday, is the player who's in the game thinking about it in the moment, like, I can't believe we're not taking the points?
No, I don't think so. I think the players are going out and they're playing the game. I mean, they had good play calls. They just didn't get executed, a couple drop passes and things like that. You know, I think the players are going out and they're just doing what's being told. I think when the players start wishing and hoping that you kick a field goal, I think they've lost confidence in their ability to get a first down. You know, it's not like it's 4th and 15. You know, it's 4th and short yardage. And so I think those offenses
they feel like they can pick that up at any given time. They just didn't really execute and make tough catches, whatever you want to call it. And so I think that's what's going on in their mind. Like, all right, cool, we just got to go and get a first down. Unfortunately, they didn't get it.
30, 40, 45 seconds, 45, 40, 35, 30 to the 20.
We spend a lot of time on Jared Goff, on the offense. I mean, frankly, that's just how we generally talk about football. But that defense got exposed, the vulnerabilities there in the second half of that game. You played DB in the league for a long time. Are you hopeful that this defense can improve moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's tough to win, and building on your defensive performance. I think they've gotten progressively better. They're young at the corner. When you look at, Gildor, I think this is his first year basically being a big-time starter in a big-time game.
Whoa, he didn't even move out of his route.
Extremely well. He's
What the hell?
Curtis Joseph is only in year 2. Cam Sutton's a little older than some of those guys, but they're extremely young secondary. So that's been one of the biggest things.
If I don't get it, I'm kicking the field goal. I'm not going for it as much this season because gotta be smarter.
And so, you hope that they can continue to grow defensively. There's rumblings about Aaron Glenn taking head coaching interviews, so we got to see what happens with him. Will he stay intact? Otherwise, you're having to either promote from within or you're learning a new defense, and that can sometimes set you back because you have the growing pains. So I think defensively, you got to be strong enough to win those games. You say you're 24/7. At some point, defensively, you got to get a stop in that second half and give yourself a chance. They couldn't pull that off, and so I think they got to mature and get some more, reinforcements on the defensive side, so that you don't have performances like that in the second half of the championship game. And now, we can't just put Detroit right back in the championship game. It's going to be a long road to get back there. I think they got a sense of what it takes to win. They got a sense of what it takes to get there. And I think they're young enough and hungry enough to go back at it. And, today was good news with Ben Johnson coming back. We'll see what happens with Aaron Glenn and how they move forward in the offseason.
Glover, I want to ask you one more thing pertaining to Dan Campbell. Obviously, over the last 48 hours, all the talking heads, all the people like us on the radio, blame is going around and a lot of fingers being pointed at Dan Campbell. Even if the Detroit Lions fan doesn't like the way Dan Campbell handled the game on Sunday, I got a hard time believing that the Detroit Lion fan is actually mad specifically at Dan Campbell. Do you get the sense that the Lion fan is upset with Dan Campbell?
No, actually.
No, I don't think so. I think, that's, like you said, that's been what they've done throughout the year. And you win some and you lose some. You're gonna make some of those plays and you're gonna love it and you're gonna praise Dan Campbell for going for it. And some of them you're not gonna make and you're gonna be upset and you're gonna wanna curse him out for doing it. We all sitting back as fans and we got the hindsight of, we should have done this, we should have done that. I think at some point you got to trust your coach. He's the head coach. You ride with him when you make the right decision. You got to ride with him when it don't work out for you. And so I don't get the sense that the two Lions fans are upset or mad. I think some of them are upset, but obviously that's to be expected. You can't please everybody. But I think for the most part, they're excited where the organization's at. They're excited about Dan Quinn, and I'm sure with Ben Johnson coming back, they're still excited about that as well.
Lions fans and beyond can check out Glover Quinn's podcast, Believe in the Lions, on Believe Podcast Network. Finally here, Glover, who you got in Super Bowl 58?
Who you got?
I'm just going to be honest, man. I said this before the championship game. It's hard for me to pick against Patrick Mahomes right now.
Wilson gets the sack.
He hasn't won on the road in the playoffs, and I think that put a chip on his shoulder, and he really wanted to go into Buffalo and get a win, and he wanted to go into Baltimore and get a win, and he willed the team, had those guys ready to go, and I think he wants to complete that journey and go and win a Super Bowl. So it's going to be hard at this moment for me to pick against Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Glover, I wanted you to say it's because you were a Swiftie. That's what I was hoping. That's where I was hoping you were going to go. I wouldn't have seen it coming.
Hey,
I wouldn't have seen it coming. America's sweetheart. She's winning everybody over, including a Glover Quinn. Glover, former Lions safety. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Glover.
All right, thank you, guys.
Coming up next here on Amber and Ian with Jonathan Zaslow filling in for Ian tonight. Should the Miami Heat really consider trading away Jimmy Butler? Kendrick Perkins thinks so. We will get into that next. This is ESPN Radio.
This episode is brought to you by
Why did I
Travel
do that?
Insurance. Are you planning 2 or more trips
We're winning.
in the next 365 days?
We're winning.
An All Trips annual travel insurance plan can protect all your adventures for less. Get a quote at allianztravelinsurance.com.
A man has been murdered on the ship, and the killer is among us.
A murder? Ooh.
We're fortunate to have on board the world's greatest detective.
Everyone on the ship is hiding something.
Preposterous.
It can't be me.
You know something bigger is going on.
That is what I am here to find out. What have we learned?
A lot. Just not, who done it.
Death and other details. Now streaming only on Hulu.
Almost got that one.
The Miami Heat have not been very good lately. That might be an understatement. The Heat, they are my team. They are the team as well of Jonathan Zaslow. Zaslow filling in tonight for Ian Fitzsimmons here on Amber and Ian, presented to you by Progressive Insurance. Find him at Zaslow Show. You can find me as well at Amber W Sports. So, James, I am not reading the topic that you have highlighted on your screen that you were trying to get me to walk into, where James Steele, our snake-like producer, has written on my screen, the Heat are terrible and should trade all their good players away so they can actually have a chance to win a championship because it's never going to happen in Miami. That is the topic for this segment that James put on my screen, thinking that I would Ron Burgundy it up and then just read the topic. Okay, but he's not going to swindle me with that because...
You just read it.
I read it in jest. I read it in jest, though.
I did it.
The point.
You bastard.
Lately. Just lately. What are we, like,
Seven games on the right side, the wrong side, of course. And I like, every day I wake up and I'm like, all right, are my Heat playing tonight? Are my Panthers playing tonight? Something to look forward to each night, I get to watch my team play. I woke up this morning, I'm thinking, God, the Heat weren't playing. I need a break. I need a break from it. It's 7 straight losses. I need a break. I'm glad they're not playing.
Michael Jr. had tweeted out last night, these Miami Heat are not fun to watch or enjoyable to watch or something like that. And people were tagging me in it. And I'm like, I can't even, they're like, oh, good thing Amber's on air that she's not seeing it and say that.
Yeah, who cares if you see it? What do you, it's like you have a leg to stand on. No, I think they're doing pretty good.
Like, I also don't think that they're enjoyable to watch right now, and I'm actually a fan of them. Amber and Ian is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money.
Hey, look at you. This is Dak Prescott. I'm not a fan.
Renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount, easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit progressive.com.
I forgot. Mike McCarthy is a crazy person.
Take it one
Hold on.
step further.
Where does it go from a skid to the next level? Like, I feel like a
No.
skid is, there's a couple. Heavens more than a skid.
82, that's still okay. But when there's 82, that's still just a skid. We get over 10, we start getting double digits.
10?
It's a little problematic. Until
I'm gonna have to sit through a 10-game losing streak. 10?
I think this is the longest losing streak of Spo's career.
It is.
We were at that point. I think that they had lost 6 games, I think, straight in 2001. And now that we're at 7, I think it's
wow.
in Eric Spoelstra's career, and it comes right after he signed the biggest contract in NBA history as a coach. So look at that.
So it's not the results you're looking for. Is that what you're saying?
He got it back. He's mailing it in. That's what we should do.
Sounds like the topic on your career is pretty right on the money, huh?
We won 100%. If Eric Spoelstra was a player, we would 100% be doing that segment. Did he mail it in now that he got paid? All right. Kendrick Perkins, ESPN NBA was on NBA today saying crazy things here.
My thing is with Jimmy Butler, yes, we know what he means to the Heat culture. We know how great of a coach that Eric Spoelstra is. I understand they had a magical run. I get that. But the writing is on the wall. They're showing the signs right now. I'm picking 3 teams right now over the Miami Heat that are going to make it, that could beat them in a 7-game series.
I mean, if Dallas is going for him, I might be the same.
We cannot waste the rest of his prime waiting to see if the Miami Heat is going to be a sleeper team in the Eastern Conference.
First of all, wasting his prime, they've been to the finals twice since he's been there. In 4 years, I mean, wasting his prime. How is that wasting?
What?
It's one of the phrases in sports, and I feel like we only do this for the NBA. It's one of the phrases in sports that I hate the most. The waste of players' prime. Jimmy Butler, since joining the Heat, he's played 4 full seasons. They've been to the finals twice.
Thomas,
they lost the
possibly?
finals, game 7, the other time. Jimmy Butler has never had remotely the success that he's had in Miami the entirety of his career. So the whole wasting his prime, his prime has only been taken advantage of since he's been in Miami. Okay, that's for all right. That's
Might be taking it a bridge too far, but yes, he's never been to a conference finals. He's now been to 3 of them in the last 4 years, and 2 NBA finals as well. You
3 picks. Not happy.
prime, short of actually winning a championship.
Jimmy Butler wasn't
57, 3 touchdowns for Cook.
Jimmy was not considered
Schultz 139 yards. Not happy about that.
considered a superstar until he came to Miami. There's a lot of people doubting, like, well, the conversation on him when he came to Miami was, okay, but when are he going to get a number 1? Because Jimmy's a number 2. That was the conversation. Now we learned that year. No, he's a number 1. But as far as saying there's 3 teams,
Charlton and Street.
Because he's being so underutilized here.
Oh, that's actually not the impression that I got of what Perk was saying there. I got the impression he was saying that Miami should move on from Jimmy. That's the way that I
felt like the way that he was phrasing it with wasting his prime was more about Jimmy Butler's best interest than the Heat's best interest. How could it possibly be the Heat's best interest right now? Who are they getting that gives them a better shot at winning a championship right now than the dude who's taking them to 2? And it's not a long-term plan with Jimmy Butler. I do get that. I mean, his age is significant in that regard. I understand that. But we're making it move at a trade deadline?
No, trading away Jimmy Butler, who has 2 more years on his contract after this year. Trading away Jimmy Butler means you're trading him to a team that is ready to win right now, which means otherwise and if that's the case, you're sending back a team that a plethora of
Pat Riley, which means we wouldn't have just traded for Scary Terry. Now we've got issues with Bam's. Are we wasting Bam's prime? I mean,
no, but what I'm saying is Pat Riley, I don't know if you've noticed, he's not a spring chicken. He's not trading for draft picks that are cash in your 2030s. All right, this is the team that's trying to win right now.
Nobody can accuse Pat Riley of loving draft.
They're not trading to me. Now here's the last thing I'll say about what Burke says. I understand what he's saying, and it makes sense. Where he's saying, hey, there are 3 teams that I would pencil in right now that would beat Miami's playoffs. I'll bet Burke would have said the exact same thing.
And by the way, there's problems with those teams as well. I mean,
whoa! What the hell? Oh wow.
Ever seen it? We have seen him shy away from competition just this season, just this week. Coming up next, did the Cowboys have the worst loss in these playoffs? This is ESPN Radio.
I've been telling y'all now, just wait, be patient, they won't let you down.
It's one of the worst playoff games the Cowboys have ever played, and exactly where it ranks on your own personal playoff disappointment list is up to you to decide.
Very disappointed. I don't think anybody saw this coming. Yeah, it seems like the most painful because we all had such great expectation and we had hope for this team.
Great read going.
There were a lot of disappointing losses in this version of the NFL playoffs. Greeny put together his green list today, where he ranked his top 5 worst losses of the 2023 playoffs. And I thought there was something pretty interesting about this list. Jonathan Zaslow filling in for Ian Fitzsimmons tonight here on Amber and Ian. So I'm going to give you the list, Zaslow, and then you can tell me.
Oh wow, what a.
I will go 5 to 1.
Yeah, for drama.
Right. That's what people do when they're revealing lists. I've gotten confused about that in the past. We're going to go 5 down to 1.
Honestly, James Steele produced the show Behind the Glass. When Amber and I used to do a show together, we would do like a list like this whenever we did it. And there have been times where she started with number 1.
Yeah,
like, what are you doing?
Why would she do that?
Why would you start with number 1?
Usually.
Logical to me. Why are we counting backwards? I don't like that.
You gotta build the suspense
for
to number 1.
dramatic purposes.
Got it, guys. Got it. All right.
Unless it's super obvious, like best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Oh,
you know who number 1 is.
Somebody
so you start at number 1.
Somebody shut off. All right. The Lions coming at number 5 on Greeny's green list. I don't know if this
Oh my god.
feel any better because we've been talking a lot about how that could be considered the worst loss of these NFL playoffs just because of the heartbreak of it all. But he has them at number 5. He's
now,
got
once you give me these 5, like, can I rearrange them if I disagree? Okay.
Yes, or if there's other contenders out there that he doesn't even have on this list. He has the Ravens.
I don't understand why I keep doing the same fucking formation.
All right,
the Bills.
Number 4 and 5 were both the games this weekend. Okay.
Yeah, that 4 and 5 are your championship games. At 3, he goes to the divisional round.
Yes! 25 30, 35 40, 45 50, 45 40, 35 30, 25 20, 15 10.
The Eagles coming at number 2 for him. And he has the worst loss of this entire playoff as the Cowboys in the wild card.
86 yard pick 6.
The first thing that stands out to me is the Eagles at number 2. Because, yes, the Eagles were 10 and 1 at one point this season. The Eagles were NFC champion and obviously went into this year with Super Bowl aspirations. Anything short of that is going to be a big disappointment. But how do we feel about coming in with the second loss of the postseason when we all kind of knew how it was going to play out that way, right? Like there was no... The Eagles, we look at it now.
Yeah, I want to see it hit the crossbar.
The worst team in the playoffs. They were a terrible...
That actually would have been a good field goal.
They were a terrible football team.
I mean, they got waxed by the Bucs.
Because they're a bad football team. Yeah.
And you're right. There were people picking the Bucs in that game, and which seems crazy if we're judging it based on last year or based on the 10-1 start. But because of the way that they fell off at the end of the season, because of who they fell off against, by the way, down the stretch as well, because the Cowboys end up winning that division, by the time we actually got to a postseason, that skid had already happened for Philadelphia. So the trajectory kind of felt flat. And you're right. I'm not sure it was as shocking, frankly, because the expectations.
Oh my god, it's glitching again. Why? Why?
You could say that was the worst loss because it's the team that was just in the Super Bowl and that everyone was so convinced was going to take the next step. And everyone wanted to crown Jalen as the best quarterback in the league. And then some of that narrative certainly fell by the wayside a bit, again, mostly towards the end of the season. But because of when it came at the end of the season, I tend to agree. The expectations were already down as we went into the postseason. So it was still an ugly loss. I would have it on a top 5 list, but I understand what you're saying there if you wanted to move it back.
I'd move it down some. I would move the Bills up. I'd probably move the Bills to number 2 because for Buffalo, this year was supposed to be the year, right? They finally got the home game against the Chiefs, and it was a home game against a Chiefs team who we thought was going to have a down year. This felt like the year that if Buffalo was ever going to catch them, it's going to be right now. And it obviously ended in heartbreaking fashion. So I would probably move the Bills up to number 2.
See, I disagree. I would have the Bills lower. This is where it gets confusing.
No, higher is number 1 is high. Anything below that is low.
Good. Thank you for the explanation. I would move the Bills lower. Because
no, it's confusing. I just solved that for everybody. All right, James, mark this down. You know, when other shows get confused, because this is confusing. It happens like in the draft. Did we trade up? Did we trade down? You know, so yeah, so you know, mark this down and send this out in a mass email.
Wow.
Yes.
Is he higher or is he lower?
No, I just solved it. I just set the standard. High is number 1. Low is moving down the list.
But it shouldn't be like that. We made it like that in sports. It's stupid.
Yeah.
1 is the lower number. So 1 should theoretically be lower. I digress.
Right. In sports, 1 is good. So good is high. It's done.
Stupid. Sports, stupid. Anyway, all right. So the point is, I would move the Bills lower because they lost to the Chiefs. And I understand that it was disappointing and that the Bills were supposed to be that team. But now that we've seen where the Chiefs have gotten, and now that we've seen how good the Chiefs are actually in this postseason, the Chiefs were like Jimmy Butler conserving himself until for the playoffs, or like LeBron does, or any of these older superstars in the NBA, right? Maybe that's where we're at now with Kansas City and the Travis Kelce experience. Because that dude didn't decide to show up to the season until darn near the postseason. They are a different team, that Chiefs team. Obviously, that defense is more than the legit in Kansas City. Is it embarrassing for the Bills to have lost a very, very close game by 3 points to Kansas City, the team that's probably going to win the Super Bowl? I just can't have it as the worst loss. Really, the city for Josh Allen and this Bills team is that they run into the Chiefs, right? If not for the Chiefs, the Bills, frankly, would probably be in a Super Bowl every year. But it's always that team that they can't get past. It's like that sometimes. So I think I would move that one back. Greeny, of course, having Cowboys as his most embarrassing. Would that be your most embarrassing loss?
Yeah, I'm good with the Cowboys being number 1. I am, because they had home field advantage for the first 2 games. Obviously, they didn't even get to the second game, but they had home field advantage for the first 2 games, and they were never in it in the wild card game from the word go. They came out at the coin toss. Teams win the coin toss, and they always defer, which is the right move because you want the double dip. You want the end of the second quarter, the early in the third quarter. Matt LaFleur and the Packers were so confident in what they were going to do to this Cowboys defense that they said, nope, we want the football right away because we're going to take the lead, and we're never going to look back. And that's exactly what they did. For the Cowboys, number 1, I think it's the right spot. Definitely the worst loss of this postseason.
I have a hard time arguing against the Cowboys as being the worst loss because of all those things that we did. It is also included in that, so we weren't expecting anything from that Packers team. We were expecting a lot from the Cowboys. Even if you were one of those people that thought the Cowboys are going to Cowboy, you know, you're Stephen A. Smith, wait for it, just wait for it. But even Stephen A. had to admit they were a really good Cowboys team, right? And they end up managing to win that division. The momentum was there as we headed into a postseason.
Shit, he outran me on the route.
I don't think you thought they were going to do that in the wild card round.
Never in it.
So, you know, they just didn't even show up for the postseason. And that was really strange for a team with those expectations for a quarterback who was having the season that he was having throughout the entire regular season. We're talking about somebody very squarely in the MVP conversation throughout the entire regular season. Now, it's the player, though, that actually is going to win the MVP this season, and that's Lamar Jackson. That, even though they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, it's that factor to me. It's that factor to me, though, that separates it a bit from the narrative I just gave about the Bills. Because this Ravens team, with the reigning MVP, because that dude's going to be the reigning MVP, I think the expectation there should have been, if you're the MVP, would you get over the
Are you fucking serious?
They weren't able to do it, so I think I would have them number 2.
I'm good with the Lions being where they are. I'm good with them on the list. They're rounding out the top 5 at number 5. I think it's a devastating loss for the
Oh my god.
But the Lions, as a team, as a franchise, have nothing to be embarrassed about. And especially because they lost at the number 1 seed, San Francisco, who's been a Super Bowl contender or favorite the entire season. So there's nothing for the Lions to be embarrassed about. But
maybe
the way
Dan
that
Campbell
they lost,
a little
because
bit.
it was a meltdown, I'm okay with being on the list.
Yeah, I mean, the defense does have something to be embarrassed about because you can't let a team come back with a 17-point deficit. And I think the coach, a little bit, has something to be embarrassed about in terms of the aggressiveness of the play calling and how much noise there's been around that. Overall, you're right. I mean, still a hell of a
Former
team.
Saints
And they lost
tight
a
end
very good
drafted.
Niners team that is, oh, by the way, unspeakable. And it's not a team that they were supposed to. So it can't be the worst loss because they lost, sure. And it was ugly in the fashion in which it happened. But the expectation, if we had just told you, especially weeks ago, hey, the Lions are going to lose to the Niners, it would have been all right. You know, the Lions fine. They're going to lose to the Niners. It wouldn't have seemed, if we had told you the Cowboys were going to lose to the Pats, that would have seemed crazy, right? If I had told you that going into
Oh, but for me, I don't even care that it was the Packers that the Cowboys lost to. It's the way that the Cowboys lost, and it's when the Cowboys lost. I don't care who it was. I mean, yeah, it was the Packers, so it was the number 7 seed in the NFC, but whoever would have beaten the Cowboys like that in that game, I would have felt the same way. So both of us are kind of shuffling around 2 through 4, but we both agree Cowboys, worst loss of the postseason. Yeah. We both agree with the green list, the number 1 of the green list.
Real quick, any of these other losses, like our Miami Dolphins, for me, it doesn't make the list because it's the Kansas City Chiefs. It was up there at Arrowhead. The Rams, they barely lost. Yeah, the Rams barely lost.
Rams lost a great game, and they were a low seed. No problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs losing was
Steelers,
not a big deal. Yeah,
no
Steelers,
reason to expect a lot out of them.
Nobody cared. Nobody had the expectation there for that team. Yeah,
Texans won a playoff game. I'm certainly not embarrassed if I'm the Texans.
Right. No.
I mean, I know they got whipped in the second round, but like, whatever. They won a playoff game.
Coming up next here on Amber and Ian, Joel Embiid.
Whoa.
Like 5 games away from not even being eligible to win another MVP, and yet that man
You're
still
fucking
taking
serious.
time off. We'll get into that. ESPN Radio is available to you on the ESPN app. Joel Embiid is playing well this season.
Love the Michael Jackson.
I know, it's a lot of Michael Jackson.
Love it.
Fucking.
Michael Jackson's still fast. Are we allowed?
Oh. Well, it's a good question. Are we allowed to like it still? But it's so
I think we are. Like, it seems to be the
so good.
But
wow.
The music is awesome. So Joel Embiid, he's been playing very well this season, obviously. Monster performances going off, yada yada. He's also been not he's been not playing in some of the biggest moments. You know, like when everybody in Denver buys tickets to a game to see him and Jokic, and Joel Embiid decides not to play it 10 minutes before the game tips off. This is like some weird thing that's been happening, and obviously this is not exclusive to Joel Embiid by any means in the NBA, but with the Joel Embiid angle, he's a player that would be in contention for the MVP this season. And oh, by the way, he's the reigning MVP, so he could be on his way to a back-to-back. The problem is, in order to try to discourage players from load management, the NBA instituted a rule where you have to play in a certain number of games to be eligible for the MVP. Well, if Joel Embiid misses a few more games, I mean, if he misses, 5 more games or 4 more games, he's not eligible. 5 more, 5 more games. He's not eligible for the
3
MVP.
straight interceptions.
And yet,
I'm very upset.
he is questionable once again. And this is like a constant thing where it seems like whatever the NBA is doing doesn't actually discourage any of the load management stuff.
I think right now Embiid is the MVP, and that's why it's going to be really interesting what happens when we get to that place where he inevitably misses 5 more games. There's no chance he doesn't miss 5 more games. So we're going to get there, and a year that he, I believe, is the MVP of the league. Again, at least right now, we're only a little more than halfway through the season. He's not going to be eligible.
No!
I mean, I got a big problem with all of this. You know, I love the NBA. Basketball is my favorite sport. But the NBA's been trending now for a few years in the wrong direction. And I'm not breaking any news there. When the league has to institute new policies, new rules to get the players to play. So it's been a major topic the last few years about all throughout the seasons
Well,
about load
shit.
management and players sitting out and playing. And
Nah,
now
I gotta
it's a
get
huge
this
conversation again at this point in the season
I
because
need new TV.
you have
Oh,
players like Joel Embiid. A guy like Tyrese Halliburton is another one where they're getting close to the threshold. And I mentioned Halliburton because he's having a phenomenal season. He's having an all-NBA type season.
I don't feel like I'm
and
gonna
he's
get
one of those
paid
guys
that much.
who could get a serious bump in pay if he lands on all-NBA because that stuff is tied in financially for these guys. Halliburton is 4 games away from reaching the threshold. Now, I mean, he's had a little bit of an injury history the last couple of years. Really the last few years he's had an injury history. So odds are he's not going to be able to get to that place either. Actually, not 2 years ago. Last year he had an injury history. 2 years ago he played a lot.
It's also what people say about Joel Embiid, by the way. Well, there's an injury history there.
Yeah, but Embiid hasn't played in Denver since 2019.
Right. And
I mean,
you can't tell me that's because of injury.
Pretty big coincidence.
That's skirt. Like that, right?
Well, and also,
I mean, there's no other way to. I don't know another way to analyze that other than feeling like he's avoiding the competition there when it's not on his.
We make a big deal every year, Amber, about him going head-to-head with Jokic in Philadelphia. They play once a year in Philadelphia every season, and Embiid is amazing. I think he had like 50 points against him in the matchup last year, and that's his championship. That game against Jokic in Philadelphia one time a year, that's his championship. He always plays it, and he always outperforms Jokic. And the fact of the matter is, we get to the postseason, you know, Jokic, he's been an MVP. He won the championship last year, and Joel Embiid has never won more than a playoff series in a season in his career. Just one playoff series. He has never won more than one playoff series in a single season in his career. And I got to tell you, it really bothers me where you're Joel Embiid, the paying customer there in Denver, pays all. Go check out how much NBA tickets are these days, all right? You're taking your family, you want to see Jokic versus Embiid, and you find out not the morning of, not the day before, 10 minutes before the game starts. Embiid walks out there in street clothes, and then obviously the fans are jeering him, and they're yelling things and they're booing. And I'll tell you what, you got a lot of nerve if you're Embiid, and you're smiling and you're laughing and you're blowing kisses and you're hamming it up. It's a lot of money these people spent, and you haven't played there in 5 years. I think you got a lot of nerve making a joke out of it. I really do.
Yeah, and I know what some people want to dismiss it, like, oh, well, you know, who cares? It's not your birthright that, you know, to see the stars necessarily, but it's also like you have to consider the product on the court. And so, yes, you don't have a contractually signed agreement from Joel Embiid saying he is going to play if you purchase tickets. There's always some inherent risk involved in that. But if you're the NBA, you have to consider it from a macro perspective. Because if you know that you're never going to get Joel Embiid against Joker in Denver, then are you tuning in to those games in Denver? And this is where it becomes a larger problem for the NBA. And it's a sport that has gained popularity hand over fist here over our lifetime. I mean, tremendous.
500 yards.
But also that can slip the opposite direction. And ratings-wise, that Heat-Celtics game, by the way, which is huge rivalry, obviously storied franchises, very good franchises, it was outrated by the LSU South Carolina women's basketball team. And I do wonder, with some of these matchups and some of these things that happen in the NBA, and everybody played in that game, in that Heat-Celtics matchup, but I'm just saying generally, I wonder if it harms some of the eyeballs on the product, because overall the product isn't as good when it's a superstar
40,
league
45
and your
seconds,
superstars
45
only want to
35
play
seconds,
what feels
25
like
seconds, 15.
I think it hurts the product. I think it hurts ratings-wise in that fashion that guys don't play. And I also think in general that fans, there
Plus
are
this TV was old anyway, so I was going to have to replace it either way.
idea that players rest, that you can get paid this much money. And players back in the day, you go look at the big-time players who grew up watching the NBA, and dudes would play. I mean, heck, Amber, you hear all the time about players playing with Mamba mentality, and they love Kobe Bryant. Kobe would be embarrassed with the way guys are sitting out in the
Right.
Now, he'd be embarrassed.
Maybe, although I do always wonder with those guys if they were playing today, right, in this day, is it a little different, what we know about longevity, all of that. Either way, the product's not as good, and that's the problem for the NBA. Plenty more here on ESPN Radio.
Huh. Watching Kyle's unboxing videos again?
Yeah, he always finds the coolest... No way! A robot dog. Gotta ask where he got it.
Or use your Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Just draw a circle around the dog on your screen, and it shows you where to buy it right in the app.
Oh, I just learned a new trick. And that for once, I beat Kyle to the next big thing.
Circle it, find it with the new Galaxy S24 Ultra and circle the search with Google. Get yours now at Samsung.com. Internet connection required. Results may vary based on visuals.
Arlen versus Joe, with Joe Fortenbaugh, our resident ESPN bet analyst. They went 0-2 in the championship round. Here at Amber and Ian, when Johanna Steele, who is 8 years old, made our picks for us, we went 2-0 in the championship round. We are sitting atop the ESPN Radio Pick'em Challenge, thanks to the best Joe on ESPN Radio. Amber and Ian, presented by Progressive Insurance. Now, Joe Fortenbaugh, for a long time, was in San Francisco on radio. Let's go out to San Francisco. Damon Bruce, host of Wake Up with Damon and Larry on YouTube. And Damon, thanks so much for your time. How do you feel about hearing that your friend Joe Fortenbaugh lost so severely picking against an 8-year-old?
Amber, all I can say is that when I heard Joe was not going to be involved in this broadcast, I couldn't have committed to it any faster. Just to be able to talk to you, to be able to talk to Jonathan tonight, I was into that. Joe is just way off his rocker these days. Glad to see he's launching ESPN bets with such great picks.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll get him some advice from Johanna Steele when we can. You mentioned it there, Jonathan Zaslow filling in for Ian Fitzsimmons tonight. So, Damon, I wanted to start with you here on the resiliency that this 49ers team showed. And it only came here when, frankly, it mattered most, because I don't think they have a come-from-behind win all season long. And then here they've got one in the divisional round and in the conference championship. I guess if you're going to show that you're tried and true, this is a good time to do it. How much do you think that means as they head into the Super Bowl?
Everyone wants to see all the boxes ticked, as many as possible, before you go and play in the biggest game in the world. And a couple of the boxes, I mean, this is putting some sunny disinfectant on it. We're, haven't won from behind. Brock hasn't been asked to play in high-pressure end-of-game drives because the Niners are such good front runners. So a couple boxes certainly got checked. And, sunny side up prognostication for Niners fans, if you're trying to look at this in the best light possible, is you're in the Super Bowl without even come close to having put 4 quarters together, without even come close to have played as well as you did all year. 2 of the worst games that the 49ers have played in many ways
50.
have been in the playoffs so far this entire season, and they have still reached the X mark
So that's what means
of the entire
maximum
season. There was no
right
team
now.
in the NFL that lived under the umbrella pressure of your season starts in the conference championship game. If you're not there, you're a total failure, and if you do get there and you lose it, we're going to still say you're a total failure. So now the 49ers' real season can finally begin because they've reached the game that everybody said they had to be in. So hats off to delivering on those expectations.
Damon, how does the talk locally around Brock Purdy
But that glass is very, very thin. It only takes someone for a crack.
Understanding and forgiving than
luckily,
some people
there's no
want to
chunk
be, and I
out,
think it's
so
an awful lot more based
still
in
functional.
reality than sometimes.
There's a little big blue bar on the top, but it
If we
doesn't
took
matter.
Brock Purdy's numbers and put them next to the name Aaron Rodgers, the argument would be that Aaron Rodgers was the MVP of the NFL and should it be unanimous or not.
600 yards. Right.
Brock Purdy, for whatever reason, being the least controversial, least look at me, least attention-grabbing person, has become a firebrand. And I really don't know why.
Oh, you want to taunt me now? You want to fucking taunt me now?
The difference between being a
I wasn't even taunting you that much. I barely did it. But you think it's okay for you to do that shit to me? Oh, hell no. Oh, fuck no.
In one of the most scrutinized positions in the world. And it's come down on Brock, I think, unfairly, for a guy who really, truthfully, even if you were his harshest critic, you'd have to admit you can't really have a 2-year start to a career much better than this. System quarterback, unheralded, talented, misunderstood, however you want to interpret it. We now have enough data points that say no matter what your opinion was, you have to admit this is going pretty darn well for a second-year player who has been in 2 NFC title games and is now appearing in the Super Bowl with some numbers next to his name from this season that actually put him in a MVP conversation, which drove the world insane.
Yeah, it's a very strange thing, the way that people react to Brock Purdy, and maybe it is because people say that he's a system quarterback. Frankly, we don't even know that. It's not like we've seen much from Brock, obviously, in his NFL career, even in that system. From what we've seen, though, even if he's a system quarterback, I don't know why the hell it matters if he's in the right system, Damon. Damon Bruce here on Amber and Ian with us. They were down 17 points, though, in that game to Detroit, and obviously have to claw their way all the way back. What do you think did change in terms of the momentum?
I guess the
700 fucking yards.
Brock really did have a historically significant second half in that NFC title game, but it would be, football negligence to not talk about Dan Campbell, who I really, really like. I think he turned the culture of the Detroit Lions around by being an incredibly aggressive coach, and his team fed off that and benefited from it. But sometimes you got to stop setting a culture, and you got to be in the moment you're in. When he kicked the field goal, he should have gone for the touchdowns, and when he passed on the field goals, looking for first downs, I was all surprised. When you have a chance to make it a 3-possession game, when the 49ers, there's no way they got like 4 or 5 possessions left in this game based on how you're moving the football and how bad of a job the Niners are doing at stopping it. I just think he got caught up in his aggression. Sometimes analytics will betray those who follow nothing but analytics. I don't think he felt the game correctly. And Dan Campbell held the door open that the 49ers created this incredible comeback through.
I must have been hearing
but
shit.
It was amazing. I mean, I remember saying that in order for the 49ers to come back in this game, all they're going to need is one of the more magical halves of football you've ever seen. And they had an 8-minute run where they erased a 17-point deficit that someday needs its own name. We've had the drive, we've had the catch, we've had a lot of things named. They're calling it the fluke to Ayuk, the immaculate deflection, whatever. I mean, we need some nicknames on this comeback. It was that historically significant, but there was an 8-minute window in there, which is one of the more stunning 8 minutes I think football fans have ever seen, and that's why the ratings on both of these games were so good. The Chiefs packing in like nobody else, and the 49ers were obviously in a dogfight.
Damon, you thought they were dead at halftime, right?
It didn't look good. I mean, I thought that the only way out of it is to score with your opening possession and then basically play perfect football the rest of the way, while maybe the Lions turn it over, fumble, interception. I mean, it was going to take more than your very best effort. You were going to need a little help to get back in this game. But it looked grim. It looked very grim. I mean, I remember thinking to myself, thank goodness that flight to Vegas and the booked hotel room were refundable. Because for a minute there, I didn't think I was off to Vegas a week from now to cover a Super Bowl. It looked a little grim, there's no doubt. But sports happens. And, one of the oldest cliches is the fat lady hasn't sung, right? And there was a half of football, and so much can change in a game. It was almost like a college game where you see a team come and dominate the first half, and you're like, oh, they don't have a chance. And then for some reason, something happens at halftime where everything changes. And the 49ers are going to Las Vegas. And so am I after all. Glad we didn't cancel anything prematurely. Don't rip your tickets until that game goes final.
Yeah, fortunately for you, football is 2 halves. Damon Bruce, host of Wake Up with Damon and Larry on YouTube. Finally here, Damon, stepping away from the NFL for a moment. I got to ask you about the Golden State Warriors, because we were talking about this crazy idea that Kendrick Perkins floated out earlier, that Steph Curry should try to force his way out and force a trade for himself to the Los Angeles Lakers to play alongside LeBron. Kendrick Perkins had floated this idea on our airwaves earlier today. Obviously, that's crazy, but I am curious, since you're in that market, what is the temperature around this Golden State team? Are Warriors fans, because it's been such a hell of a run, just sort of accepting the fact that it feels like the dynasty's over?
Hey, they've already held the door open longer than most ever get to stand in the door frame, right? I mean, it's been an incredible decade of basketball, and nothing is forever. But there is an air of frustration because run it back one more time is really sort of what everyone was sort of promised, because if Jordan Poole was the problem, he's not here. I always thought that that was overly exaggerated. And Draymond was supposed to come back reborn, and we needed to see Draymond go to therapy already this year. So it was... it's been a frustrating year. There's been some frustration over Steve Kerr, who has, I think, the second best player on this team right now, Jonathan Kuminga. Wonder whether or not he gets a coach DNP. That happened for a while there, and it was impossible to explain why the young athletic wing, who is exactly what this team needs, isn't playing. Andrew Wiggins has been a massive disappointment. Kendrick Perkins needs to pipe down, though, because Steph Curry is a first ballot, one of the 10 greatest ever Hall of Fame players, and he understands that being a career Warrior probably has more intrinsic legacy basketball value than ring chasing, which if the minute Steph actually did that, Kendrick Perkins would probably say, oh, look at Steph kind of go chase a ring. Like, that's absurd. That's absurd. Respect the throne. Steph sits upon it. It's his. Golden State is his franchise. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's got plenty of rings as well, so I don't think he needs to chase them at this point. Damon Bruce, host of Wake Up with Damon and Larry on YouTube. Thanks, Damon.
No.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Jonathan. Have a great week and happy Super Bowl.
Thanks, Damon.
Coming up next here on Amber and Steph and Sabrina are going to go at it in a 3-point shootout. But it's a good idea. We'll get into that next. This is ESPN Radio.
This episode is brought to you by Allianz Travel Insurance. Are you planning 2 or more trips in the next 365 days? An All Trips annual travel insurance plan can protect all your adventures for less. Get a quote at AllianzTravelInsurance.com.
A man has
I don't know why I
on
did
the
it.
ship, and the killer is among us.
A murder. Ooh.
We're fortunate to have on board the world's greatest detective.
Everyone on the ship is hiding something.
Preposterous.
It can't be me.
The joke's on you. You know something bigger is going on.
That is what I am here to find out. What have we learned?
A lot. Just not, who done it.
Death and other details. Now streaming only on Hulu.
All-time 3-point leader, Steph Curry, and the WNBA single-season 3-point record holder, Sabrina Ionescu, are going to compete in a 3-point contest at All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis on February 17th. Steph challenged Sabrina on X or Twitter or whatever it is the kids are saying these days, and now apparently the rest is history. Amber and Ian, Jonathan Zaslow filling in for Ian tonight. A little Purple Rain off the top from Prince.
Oh, what a song.
I know we have a theme tonight, Rachel Robinson. Do you want to give us a
theme is just great songs.
Yeah, honestly, whatever the theme is, it's been pretty fire tonight. I'm not gonna lie. I know we had Michael Jackson. Now we have some Prince. I mean, just all-time Prince right there. What else have we had tonight, Rachel?
All right, so we started off with Maroon 5, Misery. We had some Rolling Stones, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River, Beyonce in there, some Irreplaceable, Bruno Mars, Locked Out of Heaven, of course, Michael Jackson, Dirty Diana, and now Purple Rain by Prince.
I mean, they're all songs about, a guy loving a woman, heartbreak.
They're all about heartbreak, is what I was going to go with.
No, even though we went through a couple of depressing topics earlier. No, that just happened to be a coincidence that we had slightly depressing songs, but upbeat, but depressing.
Rachel Robinson doing the show within the show here with her music theme tonight. I'm not sure I'm going to get that theme, although I never get any of the themes. so it would be a surprise to nobody if I don't get this thing. Zaslow is my only hope for getting the theme, and apparently he's not going to get it. So, you want to provide us with like a hint, or you just want to give it up? Does James know it?
Well, she's got a couple more songs coming up. Let's let it play out, right?
Okay, all right. We'll let it rock for a couple more segments and see if the next two songs unlock it. James Steele, do you have a guess if you've not been given the
None of those.
Hi everyone, I am currently doing a YouTube stream and I'm wondering, could any of y'all come subscribe to my channel, please?
Timberlake, Michael Jackson.
All right, well, we'll keep going here on Amber and Ian. But let's get back to what's happening here with All-Star Weekend. So Steph and Sabrina, they're going to go at it in a three-point contest February 17th. And here's the thing about this, and I don't know if this is like a weird reaction from me, and I'm not normally the woman who sits up here and kind of beats the woman term and stuff, but Sabrina already beat his record. And like, there's something that's weird to me about having to compete with a man. Like, why is this? I guess why is this necessary to me? She stands alone to me. She already has the single season 3-point record, right? Like she's done it, and I don't know what good is going to come out of this, I guess, and that's not a knock on her by any means. It's more of a societal knock there. I just feel
why do you hate women? What's going on?
The amount of misogyny that's going to make an appearance if she doesn't win this thing, Zaslow, and I guess that as a woman is what makes me uncomfortable.
I think this is, in theory, I like the idea because it's fun, all right, and it's obviously a great thing for the WNBA to have a role here, All-Star Weekend. And I know a lot of times WNBA players compete with what was the two-ball competition. You know, they'll bring out the WNBA stars some years. So I'm okay. I like this aspect of it, and she's terrific at bringing that. But I think she's in a no-win situation. For one, it's a different three-point line, the men's game and the women's game. Number two, and she already tweeted out, I think this afternoon after it was announced, she tweeted out, because I'm sure this was being said, she tweeted out, I don't even care, I'll do it from the men's three-point line. So it's a different three-point line. That's number one. Number two, which I think is a lot more important, is it's a different size ball. The women's ball is significantly smaller than the men's ball. So it's not the same thing. And finally, where I think it's a no-win situation for her, if she loses, all the misogynistic guys point at her and say, see, this is my misogyny voice. You see, women are not as good as men. That's my misogyny voice. You see, women are not as good as men. They shouldn't even be allowed to vote. They shouldn't be allowed to drive. Like, that's the stuff you're
in the kitchen. Make me a sandwich.
Yeah. She should be making me a sandwich instead of a three-point shooter. But if she wins, then you're going to have the conversation. Yeah, it's a smaller ball. Of course she's going to win. It's easier. So unless she decides, she already said, I'll shoot from the men's three-point line, which I think is the right idea. And especially because you see it all the time in the WNBA now also. NBA too, of course. They'll shoot 3 feet behind the line anyway. So it's a smart move for her to say she will use the men's line. She should. But what's going to happen
or he needs to use the
ball?
women's line. I mean, they need to be on equal footing in order to have the contest. I don't have a problem.
I think it's got to be the men's line.
Pick a line. Pick a line. But the men's line makes a bit more sense here. But pick a line.
But the ball, the smaller ball. The smaller ball is a major advantage.
Because I would imagine his hands are bigger, right? So I would imagine that he has an inherent advantage if they go with the men's ball. I don't know that for certain. I'm just there. The whole thing
and it's heavier.
I wish, well, you're right, and it's heavier. The whole thing to me, here's the problem, is I want it to be fun. I do. But also, it was already fun to me when Sabrina not only broke the WNBA record, but also surpassed the NBA record set by Steph Curry in 2021 at the three-point contest and by Tyrese Halliburton in 2023. She beat both of those dudes. She hit 20 straight shots in her three-point contest. A record 37 out of 40 possible points in a three-point contest. She beat this dude's record already. Why then does the dude have to compete with her? Like, you know what I mean? If they were the same, there's just something, and I don't want to take the fun out of it, I guess. But why can't we let her accomplishment stand alone? Because the risk that we run, of course, is yes, then she goes head-to-head with these guys, and then now the accomplishment no longer looks quite the same because it doesn't work out the same. If it doesn't work out the same, obviously if she wins this thing, it's going to be so awesome. But does it take away from what she already did? Like, she already did it. She already beat the record.
Oh, boy. Well, like you're saying, why do we have to see this? Like, we're not necessarily the ones who get to decide. Like, she may go to them and say, I want to do this. So, like, we don't get to decide.
Hey everyone, please subscribe to my channel.
Listen,
Sports channel.
she's in it. I guess I just felt like when this story first came up, I'm like, man, I want this thing to be fun. I do, but there's just something about it that doesn't feel that fun to me. And maybe it's because I've been in this sports world as a woman for so long that it's just like, I know. And it's not a good reason not to do it because you know what's going to happen, the backlash, if she doesn't win this thing. But man, I hate that could be coming. Coming up next here on Amber and Ian, we'll find out what is a big deal and what's not a big deal. This is ESPN
I was going to
Radio.
go see a movie yesterday, and then I forgot I had a meeting with YouTube. So I couldn't
Madonna.
go. Yeah, I totally
The height of Madonna. Excellent song, by the way. Excellent.
She's on tour right now.
Hi, how
Well, I was going to
everyone
say,
doing?
excellent concert. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. Madonna and Britney Spears. It was fire.
Okay.
Wow.
Long time ago.
Wow.
But it was fire in the mid-2000s. Amber and Ian, that's Jonathan Doslow filling in for Ian tonight. Amber and Ian presented by Progressive Insurance. I just spent the entire break arguing with our producer, James Steele. We were going at it about these bullies.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes.
Justin Tucker.
Unprofessional bullies is what they are. It's Justin Tucker is a saint. There's nothing wrong with Justin Tucker other than the fact that he's a kicker, and there's this stupid macho thing in football where it's like kickers aren't actual players that other players do, and I feel like that's what was happening there. And it was just so childish and unprofessional that they're throwing his stuff. That man said that he's been warming up the same way for 12 years.
You say that like they picked up everything and threw it across the stadium.
I mean, they did. He literally was setting back up his tee, and they went and tossed it again. Like, they're 12 years old. It was Little League behavior out there.
Justin Tucker acting like a 12-year-old and putting his stuff right next to the greatest
It really was
in the
like
world.
two cool kids were like picking on the guy who's not.
100%. That's all it was. It was like the guy,
Like, it was
like not the
Mahomes
cool
and
guy.
Kelsey.
Yeah, it was like not the cool guy. He's like just there trying to do his job and like warm up, you know. It's like getting ready for the chess competition, and then the other two like huge cool dudes come over, and they're like
the two jocks.
Yeah, the two jocks. They come over, they're like pushing him around, like, throwing his stuff. They're stuffing him into a locker. That's very much what it felt like in that moment. I don't know. Was T Swift impressed by that? Not the normal kind of guy she is. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's play some video.
It's making headlines.
Extra, read all about it.
But is it a big deal or not a big deal with Amber and Ian?
I'm good
I
at
mean,
this.
that is the normal kind of guy I go for.
I swear to God, I was just about to say, I feel like Amber just described every guy she dated in high school. I swear to God, I was about to say that.
With the system in their car.
100%. Manlier the better. All right, Jay. What do you got?
All right. So we know now what jerseys will be worn at the Super Bowl. The Chiefs will be wearing red, and the 49ers will be wearing white. Is that a big deal? Not a big deal? Amber?
Oh,
No,
fuck no.
it's not a big deal.
What if I told you that the teams that wear the colored jerseys in the Super Bowl are 3-11 since 2010?
All right. What if I told you that the NFL logo for the Super Bowl the past couple of years indicated who was going to be in the Super Bowl, and then, by the way, to not have it right at all this year? So, no, I don't think colors on logos or colors on jerseys mean anything to actual outcomes in games. I don't think this is a big deal. I generally am not one who gets caught up in jerseys anyways, though, frankly. I've never really understood that. The whole, like, we wait for the announcement of which jersey our team's wearing. I never really care about that.
Yeah, I'm going not a big deal. Certainly not a big deal, the 3 and 11 wearing colors part. But I am interested, are the Niners wearing all white? You said white jerseys.
White jerseys, and I believe.
Oh, okay, because the white on white is hot. But you're saying they're wearing white with the gold pants. Yeah, I'm going not a big deal.
I feel like big deal, though, looking at this photo, is how bad it looked. The logo with the red on the red. I'm not a fan. That's a big deal.
Okay.
All right. So Kristen Juszczyk, who made the quote for Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes a couple weeks ago, got a licensing deal with the NFL, and will now be able to use two logos per Sportico.
This is a huge deal because I've actually been worried about this and all the videos that I see of her and all the social media, and it makes me like a little queasy inside as a lawyer. Like the former IP lawyer in me gets a little because I know she didn't have the rights to any of that stuff, and I knew the NFL could come after her if she was actually selling this stuff. And I do wonder if it was one reason, now given she was gifting, we saw her gifting these things, these jackets, not necessarily selling them, but obviously you would think that that's the ultimate goal here. And there's all sorts of trademark infringement issues with what she was doing. So it's good that she has worked with the NFL, that she has the official licensing now. And those are some hot jackets that she makes. That girl is very talented. I would totally rock one of those if I lived in a colder climate for the Dolphins out there. Totally.
All right, I'm going not a big deal because these were so many words that just came out of your mouth that I don't understand what they mean. I'm not going to take it as disrespect because I don't understand the words, but it has to be not a big deal on my end. Like, I'm really.
Are you fucking serious?
All right, for years, there has been a rumor that circulated that a Kansas City Chiefs fan buried a team flag under Allegiant Stadium as it was being
Yeah, I saw this.
Apparently it's a hoax.
So it's a hoax? Because there were pictures.
Yeah, it's a construction worker. There were pictures.
But it seems like, I don't know if it's real or not, but is it a big deal if there is a flag buried under Allegiant Stadium? Yes.
I'm choosing to believe that it's real, and I'm saying that it's a big deal because.
You need to know if it's real or not before you can.
Well, I read an article the other day actually, and it looked real. The internet doesn't lie. What are we talking about here? So I think it's legit, and I'm going it's a big deal because one way or the other,
thank you.
This is going to be a thing. If they win, okay,
25,
great, it's a
30,
funny story.
35,
If
40.
they lose the Chiefs, then it's like, whoa, there's some
45,
bad juju
50.
going on there. You shouldn't have done that. So I'm going big deal.
This isn't a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal. The only reason it might be a big deal is because the Kansas City Chiefs are annoying, and just generally speaking, the thought of them winning another Super Bowl kind of nauseates me.
Yeah, just a quick search. ABC affiliate in Kansas City. They tracked down the guy who said he buried the flag, and he had the flag, and said he didn't bury the flag.
What?
Well, now if they lose, it's going to be because he didn't bury the flag when he had the opportunity, when he was standing in front of the pit where it was being built, and he didn't bury it.
Hate liars.
Right, now on to the very important stuff. Pat McAfee.
Just for a second, I'm sorry. Hold on. So this guy randomly was just taking a picture years ago, like while the stadium was being built, and you could see the Luxor in the street in the background with the Chiefs. And he wasn't.
And he's just faking out reporters, like getting people to waste their time writing stories.
Just in the eventual case that.
Wow, are you fucking serious?
Well, he's a Raiders fan. Well, I'm sorry, he's a Chiefs fan who lives and works in Vegas.
He works in Vegas, building this stadium.
He was helping with the construction.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, why was he holding up Chiefs flag?
Because he's a Chiefs fan.
But, okay, but like he's like at work building.
Wow,
yeah, but he was doing a thing where it's like, look, I'm a
serious?
Chiefs fan. It's a huge rivalry. And he's like, look, I'm a Chiefs fan, and I'm the first ever person to sit on these bleachers, and I'm a Chiefs fan. Look at me. Like, that's what he was doing.
All right. All right, I'm glad we unpacked that more. I'm sorry, this has just been bothering me the more that I
That was my impression of the Chiefs construction work.
I like it.
Very close to misogyny and also macho guy. There's just a lot. I think you guys need to work on your impersonations.
I think
my impressions are fire.
All right, the important stuff now. Pat McAfee back as a full-time WWE commentator on the Raw commentary team.
Yeah. That's a big deal. WWE has a really hard time, holding down commentary crews, and they're shaking it up again.
Taco job.
And Pat McAfee has been really great at this job. He's a color analyst, and now he's the permanent color analyst for their flagship show, Monday Night Raw. I'm obviously a huge pro wrestling fan, because why wouldn't I be? So I'm going
Pro
big
wrestling
deal.
sucks
Yeah,
ass.
this was
I
good
don't
news
care
when I
anybody
turned on Raw
fucking
last
says.
night.
It's fake and it's stupid.
Go ahead, Amber.
What is the color analysis for exactly? The play-by-play?
The same thing for every other sport to describe what's going on.
Because otherwise we wouldn't know what.
Do you need me to explain to you what Troy Aikman does on Monday Night Football?
Is there a radio?
66
Is there a radio call for this thing? Is there somebody
He had
somewhere?
this one
Like,
on,
do we
too.
have like a separate team for the radio broadcast, like we do in real sports?
There's no radio broadcast in wrestling. What are you talking about?
I think they did do that one year. I think one year they did have a radio
That's a bridge
broadcast.
too
like
far.
In the early 90s.
Wasn't Jim Ross
I think they
involved in
did.
that? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think they did one year. I'd like that job. You know what? If anybody wants to bring that job back out there, I'm putting my name in the hat.
I can't with any of this. None of this is a big deal. What's a big deal is I'm stuck on this show with the two of you tonight, who are two of the biggest wrestling fans I know.
What's that? You said more wrestling content? Gotcha, Amber. Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble for the second year in a row. Zaz, big deal, not a big deal.
That's a big deal. I was there. I was there on the floor on Saturday night, Tropicana Field. What a night. Amber, I wish I brought you with me. We would have had such a great time. It's not very far from where you live, because you live in fake Miami, Sarasota. You're right around the corner there from St. Pete. I wish I would have brought you. We'd have had a great time, and you would have loved Cody Rhodes winning. I'll go big deal.
So Jonathan Zaslow and I,
son of a plumber,
go back. I mean, how many years? Like 7, 8 years now, or whatever it's
8 years,
been.
yeah.
8 years,
Damn
because
it,
we
I
hosted
missed.
a radio show
I'm
together
showing enough power.
in Miami, Zaslow and Amber, for a very long time, for many, many years. So we're very, very good friends. Jonathan Zaslow gets in his car, and he drives to Tropicana, like a couple times a year, I want to say. And in order to make this drive, he quite literally drives past my exit. He just drives straight past me, and I live hours from him now. He just drives straight past his friend, straight up to Tropicana Field for
it's a bad
wrestling.
look on my part.
And then turns around after the event, and then drives back. Then just drives back to right by my exit, straight by it, bam.
Well, I had to get to Travis Scott Sunday night. I was there too. Went to Travis Scott. Had to get back to Miami in time for Travis Scott Sunday night. What a weekend I had.
Oh,
True
if you know Jonathan Zaslow, the thought of Zaslow at a Travis Scott concert is the funniest image ever. And he shared it with you on his Instagram, at Zaslow.
Next up, I'm going to Ultra.
Looked like you were having fun.
Oh my God! What a night! What a night! I was the oldest person there.
You're a good dad. Oh, I bet. There was some other dad probably in the audience.
I don't know, man.
By 20 years at least, I would.
I'm right there on the rail. I'm on the floor.
Ah, damn! I had a chance to alert the damn thing.
I don't even know who Travis Scott is.
Stop it. Yes, you do.
No idea.
Yes, you do. James.
Zero
Yes, you
idea.
do. James. That's
I
not.
don't
That's
know
not
who that
reasonable
is.
behavior.
Tell me who it is.
Kylie Jenner's
That's
the
not
baby
gonna
of her
help.
children.
That's not going to
How
help.
I'll
about
get the
that?
Spotify ready for him. It's fine.
No
Oh,
idea.
good. We're going
I
to
have
fire up some
zero
Travis
idea.
Scott. Stay
Travis
tuned
Scott.
for that. Coming up next week on Amber and Ian, we will school James on who Travis Scott is. Plus, we have to finally unpack Rachel Robbins' theme tonight musically, because we've got multiple callers that have figured out her theme. Zaslow and I have not. Plus, we've got to talk about the reaction to Taylor Swift at these Chiefs games. That's next. This is ESPN Radio. Now we're on to Rihanna.
Oh,
I have
love
no
Riri.
idea. I love Riri too. I have no idea what Rachel's musical theme is for tonight's show. Jonathan Sazlo filling in for Ian tonight. Rachel, give me a real quick synopsis of the music tonight. So we've gotten some phone calls on it as well.
All right, so we started Maroon 5, Misery, Rolling Stones, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River, Beyonce, Irreplaceable, Bruno Mars, Locked Out of Heaven, Michael Jackson, Dirty Diana, Prince, Purple Rain, Madonna, Material Girl, and finally Rihanna, Mr. Me.
Sazlo, what is your guess?
Yeah, well, I can't take credit for it because it was tweeted at us, and I'm pretty sure, Amber, that this is the correct answer. The tweet reads, your producer's musical theme tonight is all artists who have performed at Super Bowl halftime.
Oh, wow. I was trying to directional kick it, but it didn't go.
That makes sense.
I should have been able to get that. That's a bad job of me.
Yeah, I was in my head. I'm trying to connect the dots, and so I'm trying to connect. A lot of her themes. It's like, oh, they're the same year, the same era, or similar music theme, or artists, or words, or the theme of the music itself, or whatever. And they're like, I couldn't find the connection between any connections here. Well, obviously that makes sense because there is none, other than the fact that they've all performed Super Bowl. So there you go. Good job. Rachel, as always. Excellent job. Maybe not such an excellent job from Taylor Swift, at least not according to a lot of people, because there has been a lot of weird backlash around Taylor Swift as we head towards the Super Bowl. I just don't really understand it, frankly. I mean, I don't, what is there to hate? But I guess we just kind of live in a culture where it's like to hate on these kinds of things. I get she's super famous, and I get that people get tired of overexposure, but the reality is she was showed on this broadcast something like 42 seconds in this last game out of
I think she was shown only once or twice.
Yeah, out of this game that was well over 3 hours long. I think she was shown more than once or twice, but it was still collectively it was something like 42 seconds. And then mind you, in comparison, they had B-roll of really innocuous things that got almost like crab cakes or something like that got nearly as much time as Taylor Swift caught on camera. I mean, it really was a microcosm of the game and everything in the game, and not even to count, of course, the commercials went much longer than that, so it's not like all you're consuming is football on the field, and yet it's somehow that 40 seconds of T Swift that people have an issue with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessary for me to bring back my impression of misogyny guy, but I mean, okay, fine. Why do I have to see she doesn't even like football? I'm trying to sit down and drink my beers and watch football, and I gotta see this girl with the music that I don't like. That's misogyny guy made an appearance again, you know? I think there's a little bit of that, but for me, I like when they show Taylor Swift. I like all the Taylor Swift stuff. By the way, if I could say, there is such a cool photo, and props to whoever the photog was that took the shot, where they're doing the AFC Championship presentation on the stage on the field after the game on Sunday, and it's you have Andy Reid on the stage. There's Travis Kelce up there and Pat Mahomes and Chris Jones. And Taylor Swift is on field level right in front of the stage, and the photog is shooting over the shoulder of Taylor Swift, and it's a shot of Andy Reid pointing at Taylor Swift, and she's pointing. It's such a cool shot. And then you can't tell me that this isn't a real relationship. Amber, they kissed on the mouth, okay? That's a real relationship. But here's the thing. I think when I'm watching games, I think the networks show crowd shots a little too much. It's a little too much for me. So if some of those crowd shots then instead are going to include Taylor Swift having a great time, I know who Taylor Swift is. I don't know Joe Blow who's sitting in the crowd with his Chiefs jersey on. I'd rather see Taylor Swift. I'm good with it.
I have zero problem seeing celebrities at sporting events. zero problem. We see it all the time at NBA games.
She's
and
really
they always
into the games.
Show them on the game. Exactly. What does it matter? Showing people who I recognize, because you're right, I have no idea who the huge overwhelming majority of people in the crowd are. What does it matter if there's a few people there who we all recognize because they're that famous across the world, and they're showing having a ton of fun at the game like everybody else? I don't see what the big problem is. It was 44 seconds, by the way, officially, that they showed during that Chiefs-Ravens game. 44
And by the way,
seconds for
Misogyny
Taylor
Guy
Swift.
didn't complain once about every time Eminem was showed the last couple of Detroit Lions games.
Right, that's true. Eminem was showed a ton during the Detroit Lions. Even doing some obscene wrestling.
Eminem's a guy. I know he's a real.
Men are supposed to be a football.
I know he's
Men,
a legit
football.
Lions guy.
What the lady doing watching football? It's men sport. I think that the overexposure of all of these celebrities, I guess, to some semblance, you get tired of it, I guess, generally, right? So if the Kardashians were at these games and they were shown for 10 seconds, we'd be tired of it. And I think some people maybe are just tired of sort of this love story or this obsession with the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift love story generally. I don't understand why you can't just enjoy football. Like, what does it really
I think she's fun. She seems like a nice girl. I like it. I'm good with it.
They seem to dig each other. What's wrong with people being happy, man? And
They
if
kissed
they
on the
end up
mouth
not
after
happy
the
one
game.
day,
I
they end up
saw
not
it.
happy. Yeah,
French
for me,
whistle.
I'm so bored with the Kansas City Chiefs and their greatness. I'm so tired of it. For me, the only interesting angle of this
I'm not tired.
is Taylor Swift. I know. Like, thank goodness for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, because there's
Taylor
no
Swift's
part
going
of
to
me.
save the Super Bowl. I got news for you.
Exactly. There's no part of me that wants to see the Chiefs in another gosh darn Super Bowl. But if I'm going to have to, at least I get to see Taylor Swift there as well. After she turned down the Super Bowl halftime show, she turned down performing in it. After she has to have a concert in Japan the day before, she has to be at a Super Bowl. Even on private jets, that's insane. Then she has to fly to New Zealand like 2 days later when she's in the middle of this international tour. All of that makes this game more interesting. I have zero problem with Taylor Swift being a Super
Oh my
Bowl
God, why did
winner.
you
But
leave?
also, by the way, with all that said, go Niners. Coming up next here on ESPN Radio, Game Night with Hugh Myers and Emmett Golden.
People depend. I mean, they need to be in an environment that, one, like, if they have a lot of energy, you can support a lot of energy. Personally, like, I've always loved labs. Like, I've heard amazing dogs. They have those, like, fun personalities, too. They're also great dogs. So, all right, yeah, Louis is doing his own thing, too. What was that? Oh, I don't know when people say so. It's this summer. That's all I know. I'll be done. I'll definitely be done. But, yeah, it's going to be this summer. I need to completely and totally unwind, disconnect for a bit, and then I can start thinking about it again. But definitely gotta we'll see. So, you know where you have some time. You got 30 still everything last year. It was great. It was great. It's ever done, but yeah, that's in the air. Yeah, I heard that it was pretty solid. Like, it was getting some good reviews already. Yeah, no, I'm interested. I'll watch it. It's not on the list right now. So, I hope we get the next season starts to be really great. I can so much more. So, oh. Yeah, Joe, so it seemed like there's another deadline, which I'm going to check out. But yeah, I just ran out of time. I didn't think there was none to be had whatsoever. Oh, yeah, interaction between the North characters or counterparts on the beach? Yeah. So, no, it's team, it's the honors. There's a bunch of stuff I'm doing with a bunch of people. Like St. Jude, I'm doing some stuff with them. We're going to row on Wednesday. So, yeah, no, I'm really excited. Vince the father, the other North characters.
You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Oh my god.
This episode is brought to you by Allianz Travel Insurance. Are you planning 2 or more trips in the next 365 days? An All Trips annual travel insurance plan can protect all your adventures for less. Get a quote at AllianzTravelInsurance.com.
This is the Dan Levator Show with the Stugatz Podcast.
Oh my god, are you fucking serious?
I can be blissfully naive, Stugatz, about a number of different things. Ignorant, really. At 55 years old, I would say it's a little strange, some of the places that I can be naive. One of them that comes to mind immediately, I don't know how many of the people who were there in 2016 when we're watching Trump being inaugurated. I remember at the Clevelander looking at the faces, and all of us, what was happening was not fear. There was no one in that room who was doing fear. It was sort of laughing at the absurdity of a reality television host being named the president of the company. And the only reason I bring this up now...
The country, that's a pun.
The country.
Yes,
I might as well, you know what? Given how much, yes, I should have said country, but given how much we're dealing with capitalism and what this country has been turned into, we can call it the United States of America as a company, LLC. So, but I remember the faces, Stugatz, in the room, and I was one of them, just sort of laughing at the absurdity of that. And what I'm about to show you now is because so many of the things since then not only have confused me, but I've wildly underestimated how things that I think might be funny or silly or pop culture nonsense can then morph into something that's dangerous.
Sure.
And so over the last 7 or 8 years, I feel like sometimes I don't even have the language for how it is that you get introduced to QAnon. Like when you don't know anything about anything and you're just being shown things that represent an underbelly of white grievance that is now a platform that you can run on to try and aggressively trample minorities and women. But I bring all of this up to say that even by the standards of the last 7 years getting hit in the face with a fish for 7 years, this on Fox News is something that I still am surprised by and don't understand.
We have had enough of Taylor Swift for now.
She shouldn't be liberal. She should be a total conservative, given everything.
The Pentagon PSYOP unit pitched NATO on turning Taylor Swift into an asset.
Yesterday, she flew private from New York City to Baltimore. Yet she constantly talks about climate change. So just please don't believe everything Taylor Swift says. We're all begging you. I think she should just stick to her singing and let her love life be what it is.
The New York Times just speculated she's a lesbian.
A new poll shows 18% of voters are likely to vote for whichever candidate Taylor Swift endorses. Uh-oh.
Biden effectively has Taylor Swift as his VP.
A single post of hers led to 35,000 new registrants. That's arguably more power than the president.
She's sharing links. And her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, sponsored by Pfizer.
What's her stance on policy, economic policy, foreign policy?
I don't think that'll be.
So
don't get involved. Don't get involved in politics. We don't want to see you there.
I asked this question with no...
Lots to digest there.
No sarcasm. Whoa! What are we doing? Her greatest crime is that she's fallen in love with a tight end.
Well, the private jet, I mean.
Is it?
I love the one that was just like, she should just be a Republican. I don't know why she isn't.
She's a lesbian.
Can anyone help me, please, understand what we're doing?
Well, Dan, she is a woman.
Yes.
And that's it. That's all you need to know.
Okay, so is it that she's empowering young women to be stronger, and that is something that we don't want around our football?
Yep, pretty
Kristen
much.
Juszczyk will allow you, and we'll give you licensing deal and some logos, but that's as comfortable as it gets for us. We need to get the girls out of here. We need our caveman football. Is that what's happening? We just need We need our sports room, the theater room, to be something that doesn't have women in it. It's just everyone looks like Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think something that they actually mentioned on the video is Taylor Swift does have a lot of power, and she will tweet out links of like register to vote, and people will listen to what she says, and she is more liberally aligned in her political views. So it's always easy on a woman in sports. It's really easy.
Why are you surprised by this? I mean, why?
Come on,
why are you surprised?
Stugotz, come on.
Dan,
Stugotz,
why are you surprised that Fox News is covering this?
This is what I'm telling you, okay? Because it's not just Fox News. They're feeding their carnivores. This is what I'm telling you. It's easy for you to play the result and tell me why are you surprised. When we were in that room in 2016, because I remember the faces in that room at the Clevelander watching Trump inaugurate it.
Yes.
If I had told you then, you're not going to believe it. But in 2024, Taylor Swift's going to get weaponized. You would not have said to me that that was going to happen. You wouldn't have.
I agree with you then. But after 4 years of Trump and now, I guess, 3 more years of Trump, I'm not surprised by anything. I'm just not.
I think you have a great show. I watch it a lot.
All right. Stugotz is unsurprisable.
He endorsed you, Dan. Are you ready to return the favor?
No, Dan,
big endorsement, Dano.
Dan, you're not listening. I said at the time, if you told me this, yes, I would be shocked. But today, I'm not that shocked.
But it happens every election cycle. Like, they villainize and weaponize whatever celebrity endorses any candidate.
She's a woman.
You mentioned that.
That Biden Swift card, though, that'd be a powerhouse.
Would it win?
The fuck?
Thank you, guys. In a largely audio medium, Tony and Chris shrugging their shoulders helps us not at all.
I mean, I'm not a huge political guy, but it looked good. We got the demographics, you know, you get the young generation, you get the old generation. It looks like there's a lot of people in there.
Let's be real. Taylor would probably become president at some point. Right?
Put it on the poll, please, at Levitard Show. Whisper it. Can Taylor Swift become president at some
she
point?
Was running it
heartbeat away.
It's a big election for both VP candidates.
It really is.
Both VP candidates are just kind of holding their hands together like, this could be all mine soon.
Get for me, please, the sound, Stugotz, because the Miami Heat here are in a stretch where they have not scored 110 points in the last 10 games. And that, in an offensive league where Luke is putting up 73 over here, everybody's scoring like crazy. They're talking again about, we got to fix this. There's too much scoring now. We're overdosing on scoring. This is the Heat's longest streak in more than 2 years of not being able to get to 110 points in a basketball game. And Kendrick Perkins has been beating this particular drum for a while now. He quieted it down when they got to the finals last year. It went away for a while, but now he's back to do what Kendrick Perkins is hired to do by ESPN, things like this.
I'm worried about the Miami Heat, and here's one for you right here, Malika. It's time for the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler to go their separate ways. And I believe that the Miami Heat need to do right by Jimmy and trade him to a team that actually could compete for a title this season. And Jimmy needs to accept that for the simple fact when you look at their roster right now, right, you have a veteran, old Kevin Love. Jimmy Butler is 34 years of age. Everyone else is 30 years and younger. Bam is 26. Jaquez Jr. is what, 22. I think Tyler Hero is 24. Like, at the end of the day, this Heat team is not going to have a magical run again. And so we don't know how much we're going to see, how much time we're going to have to see playoff Jimmy.
Right.
And we want to see playoff Jimmy. He's just not going to be, it's just not going to be with the Heat. And so I feel like it's time for them to part ways.
What are your thoughts there, Stugotz?
I think that's ridiculous. First off, they don't owe Jimmy Butler anything. Secondly, Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley, they still think this team can win. They still think this team can compete because that's how they are. I mean, and they have proof of it. They did it last year. They limped in last year. They got a couple of wins and then got rolling and then got all the way to the NBA Finals as an 8th seed. So
it hasn't looked like this in 3 years, maybe 4 years.
I understand that.
It's been a long time since it looked like what the last 7 games have been, and I don't think what Kendrick Perkins is saying there is absurd, but only because within the next 3 years, at some point, you're going to have to start thinking that way. That's a onerous contract late, and these guys, Stugotz, don't age the way that you think they do. You see LeBron in a uniform now. You see his body size. He looks a little bit slower, but the numbers make it look like he's still LeBron. And then what happens? Oh, look, they're bad offensively and they're mediocre defensively. Why? Because they've got the oldest player in the league running around out there.
Right.
And you think he was LeBron, but he's not that anymore. And I think that becomes hard to discern to the common eye on someone like Jimmy Butler. There are a lot of miles on that body, and he's not built like LeBron James. They have used up a lot of Jimmy Butler bandwidth.
I understand that, but this is not Jimmy's decision. Like, you're asking me, what do the Heat think of what Kendrick Perkins has to say? I think Eric Spoelstra and Riley are sitting there going, that's ridiculous. We still think we can win with this group. We're not getting rid of Jimmy Butler.
In the best run that they've had in the playoffs, which was this past season as a play-in team all the way to the finals, we saw Jimmy be great in 3 straight series, and then the wheels kind of fell off, right? The body betrayed him. They didn't have enough gas to make it and win the entire thing. You look at the next 2 years, $48 million on the cap, $52 million on the cap in 2 years. Like, we want to get under all the aprons, right? We got 1,000 aprons that we got to get under for the salary cap. Like, it might be time to start saying, you know what?
Tony, I'm going to tell you again to go sit in the penalty box because of how much you manhandle that microphone. I've asked you several times to stop making love to the microphone every time you speak. That's a little aggressive.
It's that it falls down, Dan, and then I can't, like...
You have now lapsed into total sexual harassment. You have now, there is Tony out.
You don't have HR here.
2 minutes, get out of here.
So the victim of sexual harassment has been kicked out of the room, to be clear.
Yes, thank you.
I'm good.
Billy,
Rankins and
over human
Charles.
resources as well, because
HR.
I'm still trying to get in contact with the witch. I can't take on all of that.
Hey, folks, it's Mike Ryan. And as you know, Miller Lite is my favorite beer. So when
Shut up.
A beer. Reach out to those important to you. Why don't you invite a best friend over and say, hey, let's have some Miller time together. I guarantee you it won't go wrong. It's a certified winner for me every single time out. Tastes like Miller time. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan. Find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Don Lebatard.
You are very comfortable talking about how you met your wife, how much you love her, how important she is to you, and that's the reason that I asked the question. I've always admired that about you, that you have no problems whatsoever professing your love.
Well, the thing is, I got a new wife now. You know, me and Bianca didn't make it, so I moved on. We moved on. It was for the better. Both of us.
Stugotz.
Things just got a little awkward there. So let me be the first on this show to congratulate you on the new wife, Vince. Congratulations on feeling whole, feeling complete, you know? Let's talk tailgating. Yeah.
Don't feel awkward, buddy. You know,
Dan, no, I don't.
Oh, it's too late for that. It's much too late for that, Vince. I appreciate you soothing me in this regard, but I already feel terribly awkward. And then my teammate comes to my defense with not a question, but just a healthy congratulations and the further pointing out of that awkwardness, because he's always good for me in those spots. I'm also thinking of divorce, Vince, after many, many years, 18 years, with a partner who does things like that to you.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz.
See if I can make it. If I didn't angle it too far to the right.
God bless football continues to thrive. Billy is claiming that he has become friends with Cam Newton.
Cam loved Billy. Seriously, I think Radio Row, Cam said he's leaving a seat open for Billy Gill. He's leaving him a hat. He's leaving him a cigar. This is exciting. Yeah.
I don't think any of that's actually going to happen, though. I think I'll go up to Cam, and he's just going to keep walking, and his hamburgers will be like a wall of people in between me and him.
Is it on the latest God Bless Football or the one about to come out? Because you guys were telling me you've also befriended Flavor Flav, that Stugotz is trying to negotiate with him to see if he'll go to Radio Row with Stugotz and be hype man for Greg Cody's book, The Pride of the Lion.
Yeah.
What is coming out with Flavor Flav, or has it already come out?
So we have an episode that is coming out today. Dan, we were very excited. We got ahead and we thought, you know what, the Super Bowl is coming. What do people want to hear? Because there's this Pro Bowl week. Pro Bowl week is kind of slow. What do you want to hear? Do you want to hear us recap the game? What do you want to do? So we're like, you know what? Let's get celebrity fans of teams that could go to the Super Bowl. So we reached out and we booked 2 celebrities.
Yeah.
We had them locked in last week, and we thought, wow, this is great. We're going to have a Ravens celebrity fan, and we're going to have a Lions celebrity fan. And they can preview their team going to the Super Bowl. And then both of those teams lost. So we have celebrity fans. We have Duff Goldman, the celebrity baker. And we have...
What a get that is.
And we have Flavor Flav. Duff became very good. Here's the thing, Dan, that you need to understand. They both went well. It's coming out today. And Stugotz loved Duff until he talked to Flavor
Oh,
Flav.
you gotta be fucking serious.
So he loved Flavor Flav more.
Yes.
But as you know, with celebrities, Stugotz just started asking for a bunch of questions, and he somehow made
A bunch of favors?
Yeah, a bunch of favors, and I believe that he promised Duff that he was going to start a band with him and Austin Eckler because they both play instruments. And Flavor Flav, one thing led to another. He invited us to stay at his house, and now he's going to come to Radio Row with us. And yeah, he may be walking around. We invited him to Radio Row. He invited us to stay at his house. 5 bedrooms.
Let's hear it.
I think maybe you head out to Radio Row. We hang out with you at the DraftKings
Right.
stage. Yeah, we'll see you there.
Yeah, we want to have you on, okay, man?
This is exciting.
Let's go.
All right.
I'm all in.
And if I need a place to stay, I can crash at your place. Is that cool?
Okay, I got 5 rooms at my crib.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, my God.
And we're trying to make it to
my
Gronk
God.
Beach, but they want us out by Friday, but Gronk Beach is on Saturday, so we're looking for a place. That's right.
Flav, I'm going to take you up on this offer. We're coming to your house, okay?
Hey, like my boy Bob Barker said, come on down.
I'm really torn here. I am, because I love Flavor Flav. I love Public Enemy. But Stugotz is so cringy with just asking these people for things that it makes me wildly uncomfortable.
You want to join us?
And then lying about going.
Then saying he's going to go, and then Flavor Flav will be trying to reach him, and Stugotz is like, sorry, buddy, I'm stuck at a craps table. Can't get there. Lucy, what familiarity do you have with Flavor Flav?
I've heard of him.
Okay, so not even Flavor of Love, the dating show, would be the most recent of things, I think, that would be the pop culture things.
No.
Okay. I don't imagine that you guys have imagined what Flavor Flav's house looks like.
Oh. 5 bedrooms.
Staying there, I think, put it on the poll, please, at Levitard Show, is staying at Flavor Flav's
There's
house
no
risky?
point. It's too risky.
Whoa.
I'm leaving it open.
Oh.
I'm leaving it open. I think that you might have an idea of what that is, and I saw the reality show that represents the single worst moment I've ever seen on television when someone he was dating on one of the steps.
We've all been there.
Have we?
Gotta go.
Have we?
She did it discreetly.
Have we all? All right, put it on the poll.
He's only got one bathroom.
No, put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Have you ever left the date in public on the floor?
Dan, you side of your house.
No, well, I have. This is the worst part about
What are you doing?
I've been there. I don't think we've all been there. I think many people, look, there are 2 types of people in the world. People
34
who will
yards.
in a public
Great.
restroom and people who will not. And if you're willing to a public restroom, you will also not be able to control your bowels on occasion, drink too much white wine in the parking lot. But
that's amazing.
But if you're someone who can not, put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Can you use a gas station bathroom? Can you go number 2 in a gas station?
Nigga, if I had to go.
Bathrooms are just named.
Well, but okay, which one would?
Because those are a step up. Like,
Are
you
they?
went to I gotta go to a key. This key that I don't want to touch. Like, you named the worst of all the public bathrooms.
I mean, an airport bathroom is pretty.
Oh, I'd rather do an airport.
Airport's fine.
Any day of the week, dude. A gas station, dude.
You have
When's the last time you were at a shell bathroom?
Guys, the difference is
that wooden key.
At a gas station, you have one choice, one toilet. That's it. When you go to like a rest stop or the airport, you have multiple stalls to choose from.
But then
you open
everybody's
every
taking.
next to you.
No, but you
it's
open
just
up.
a row of
Ratio is a lot higher at a
Like,
rest
what am I
stop.
doing? Oh, the guy next to me, can you pass me?
There's a chancleta. You're in my soul with that toe. I see your toes.
Get that toe back up there.
No, not Fort Drum. Have you been to Fort Drum lately?
Oh, you gotta be fucking serious.
Hall of rest stops on the turnpike.
Really?
It used to be Fort Pierce. That used to be the place that you stop. Fort Drum. Now you're like, you know what? I can do the extra 25 minutes and get up to Fort Drum because.
Chris Cody, do you think that when people lined up from here to Jacksonville to work for Meadowlark Media, that they imagined a video room that at present is screaming at each other, find Chris Cody's toe in the bathroom stall,
They're scurrying.
Find the toe of Chris Cody.
I can hear the panic.
Because a row of...
There. So let me be the first on this show to congratulate you on the new wife, Vince. Congratulations on feeling whole, feeling complete. You know. Let's talk tailgating. Yeah.
Don't feel awkward, buddy. You know,
Dan, no, I don't.
It's
I mean,
too late
Dan
for that.
does.
It's
I
much
mean,
too
You've
late
gotta
for
be
that.
fucking
So I
serious.
appreciate you soothing me in this regard, but I already feel terribly awkward. And then my teammate comes to my defense with not a question, but just a healthy congratulations and the further pointing out of that awkwardness because he's always good for me in those spots. I'm also thinking of divorce, Vince, after many, many years, 18 years with a partner who does things like that to you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgart.
God Bless Football continues to thrive. Billy is claiming that he has become friends with Cam Newton.
Cam loved Billy. Seriously, I think Radio Row,
Hard
Cam
to.
said he's leaving a seat open for Billy Gill. He's leaving him a hat. He's leaving him a cigar. This is exciting. Yeah.
I don't think any of that's actually going to happen, though. I think I'll go up to Cam, and he's just going to keep walking, and his handlers will be like a wall of people in between me and him.
Is it on the latest God Bless Football or the one about to come out? Because you guys were telling me you've also befriended Flavor Flav, that Stugatz is trying to negotiate with him to see if he'll go to Radio Row with Stugatz and be hype man for Greg Cody's book, The Pride of the Lion. What is coming out with Flavor Flav, or has it already come out?
So we have an episode that is coming out today. Dan, we were very excited. We got ahead. And
They wanted me to go for 2, so I went for it.
What do people want to hear?
I didn't want to, but it was like go for 2 to make it a 3-point
Do
game.
you want to hear us recap the game? What do you want to do? So we're like, you know what? Let's get celebrity fans of teams that could go to the Super Bowl. So we reached out and we booked 2 celebrity fans, and we had them locked in last week, and we thought, wow, this is great. We're going to have a Ravens celebrity fan, and we're going to have a Lions celebrity fan. And they can preview their team going to the Super Bowl. And then both of those teams lost. So we have celebrity fans. We have Duff Goldman, the celebrity baker. And we have...
What a get that is.
And we have Flavor Flav. Duff became very good. Here's the thing, Dan, that you need to understand. They both went well. It's coming out today. And Stugatz loved Duff until he talked to Flavor Flav. And then Flavor Flav was the more recent person he talked to, so he loved Flavor Flav more.
Yes.
But as you know, with celebrities, Stugatz just started asking for a bunch of questions, and he somehow made...
A bunch of favors?
Yeah, a bunch of favors, and I believe that he promised Duff that he was going to start a band with him and Austin Eckler because they both play instruments. And Flavor Flav, one thing led to another. He invited us to stay at his house, and now he's going to come to Radio Row with us. And yeah, he may be walking around. We invited him to Radio Row. He invited us to stay at his house. 5 bedrooms.
Let's hear it.
I think maybe you head out to Radio.
Come on, let's go.
Let's do that.
Let's do it. I'll come to Radio Row. Y'all let me know where y'all going to be at, and I'll come hang out.
Oh, we're going to be at the DraftKings stage. Yeah, we'll see you there.
Yeah, we want to have you on, okay, man?
This is exciting.
Let's go.
All right.
I'm all in.
And if I need a place to stay, I can crash at your place. Is that cool?
Okay, I got 5 rooms at my crib.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're trying to make it to Gronk Beach, but they want us out by Friday, but Gronk Beach is on Saturday, so we're looking for a place to crash Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Austin Eckler is not really going to invite us, you know.
Hey, at least if you stay at my crib, you ain't got to worry about checkout.
That's right.
Flav, I'm going to take you up on this offer. We're coming to your house, okay?
Hey, like my boy Bob Barker said, come on down.
I'm really torn here. I am, because I love Flavor Flav. I love Public Enemy. But Stugotz is so cringy with just asking these people for things that it makes me wildly uncomfortable.
You want to join us?
And then lying about going.
Then saying he's going to go, and then Flavor Flav will be trying to reach him, and Stugotz is like, sorry, buddy, I'm stuck at a craps table. Can't get there. Lucy, what familiarity do you have with Flavor Flav?
I've heard of him.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So not even Flavor of Love, the dating show, would be the most recent of things, I think, that would be the pop culture things.
Nope.
Okay. I don't imagine that you guys have imagined what Flavor Flav's house looks like.
5 bedrooms.
Staying there, I think, put it on the poll, please, at Levitard Show, is staying at Flavor Flav's house risky?
Whoa.
I'm leaving it open. I'm leaving it open. I think that you might have an idea of what that is, and I saw the reality show that represents the single worst moment I've ever seen on television when someone he was dating on one of the steps.
We've all been there.
Have we?
Gotta go.
Have we?
She did it discreetly.
Have we all? All right, put it on the poll.
It's only got one bathroom.
Put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Have you ever left the dates in public on the floor?
Inside of your house.
No, well, I have. This is the worst part about it. I've been there. I don't think we've all been there. I think many people, look, there are two types of people in the world. People who will in a public restroom and people who will not.
My sister and my mother hate doing that. Me, I don't give a shit because they clean it every time. So, because anytime I would be going to a restroom, I would see one of the employees go behind me and clean it. So, I don't even leave a mess. I'm just saying that just go in and clean it.
At Levitard Show, can you use a gas station bathroom? Can you go number 2 in a gas station bathroom?
The worst of all the bathrooms you just named.
Well, okay, which one? What do you want me to go with? Because I
think with a rest stop.
Well, but I think
rest stops are different. Yeah.
Parking lot. But
that's amazing.
But if you're someone who can not, put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Can you use a gas station bathroom? Can you go number 2 in a gas station bathroom?
The worst of all the bathrooms you just named.
Well, but okay, which one? What do you want me to go with? Because
Let's go with a rest stop.
Well, but I think
dump it down the hill.
Rest stops are different, yeah.
Are they?
Because those are a step you went to I gotta go to a key. This key that I don't want to touch. Like you named the worst.
The worst.
Airport bathroom is pretty
I'd rather do an airport.
Airport's fine.
Any day of the week, dude. A gas station, dude. We're at a shell bathroom.
Guys, the difference is
that wooden key.
At a gas station, you have one choice, one toilet. That's it. When you go to like a rest stop or the airport, you have multiple stalls.
Willing to public.
Only got one bathroom.
Put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Have you ever? Recent of things, I think, that would be the pop culture things. Okay. I don't imagine that you guys have imagined what Flavor Flav's house looks like.
5 bedrooms.
Staying there, I think. Put it on the poll, please.
Let's see if I can get Hartsey a touchdown.
Flavor Flav's house risky.
Whoa.
I'm leaving it open. I'm leaving it open. I think that you might have an idea of what that is, and I saw the reality show that represents the single worst moment I've ever seen on television when someone he was dating on one of the steps.
We've all been there.
Have we?
Have we?
Gotta go.
Have we?
She did it discreetly.
Have we all? All right, put it on the poll at.
It's only got one bathroom.
Put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Have you ever left the dates in public?
Inside of your house.
No, well, I have. This is the worst part about it. I've been there. I don't think we've all been there. I think many people, look, there are two types of people in the world. People who will in a public restroom and people who will not. And if you're willing to public restroom, you would not be able to control your bowels on the floor.
Dan, you side of your house.
No, well, I have. This is the worst part about it. I've been there. I don't think we've all been there. I think many people, look, there are two types of people in the world. People who will in a public restroom and people
I'm struggling today, man.
And if you're willing to public restroom, you will also not be able to control your bowels on occasion, drink too much white wine in the parking lot.
Hey, yo.
But
that's amazing.
But if you're someone who can not, put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Can you use a gas station bathroom? Can you?
Evans the worst of all the bathrooms. Just name.
Because those are a step up. Like, you went to like, I gotta go to a key. This key that I don't want to touch. Like, you named the worst of all the public bathrooms.
I mean, an airport bathroom is.
Oh, I'd rather do an airport.
Airport's fine.
Any day of the week, dude. A gas station.
The reaction of Chris Coulter was like, the worst.
Gas station bathroom.
The worst of all the bathrooms just named.
Well, but, okay, which one? What do you want me to go with? Because
Let's go with a rest stop.
Well, but I think okay. There are two types of people in the world: people who will in a public restroom and people who will not. Public restroom, you will also not be able to control your bowels on occasion, drink too much white wine in the parking lot.
Oh my god.
But
that's amazing.
But if you're someone who can,
Wow, are you fucking serious?
Put it on the poll at Levitard Show.
Nobody went to go cover this man?
Gas station bathroom. Can you go number 2
Did he
in a gas station bathroom?
The worst of all the bathrooms you just named.
Well, but okay, which one? What do you want me to go with? Because
Let's go with a rest stop.
Well, but I think
rest stops are different. Yeah.
Because trying to reach him and Stugat's like, sorry, buddy, I'm stuck at a craps table. Can't get there. Lucy, what familiarity?
Anchor.
I've heard of him.
Okay.
40,
So,
35 to the 30 yard.
I think, put it on the poll, please, at Levitard Show. Is staying at Flavor Flav's house risky?
Whoa.
I'm leaving it open. I'm leaving it open. I think that you might have an idea of what that is, and I saw the reality show that represents the single worst moment I've ever seen on television when someone he was dating on one of the steps.
We've all been there.
Have we?
Gotta go.
Have we?
She did it discreetly.
Have we? All right, put it on the poll.
I only got one bathroom.
Put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Have you ever left the date to public on the floor?
Dan, you side of your house.
No, well, I have. This is the worst part about
Offensive passing interference.
Fuck! I think we've all been there. I think many people, look, there are two types of people in the world. People who will in a public restroom and people who will not. And if you're willing to a public restroom, you will also not be able to control your bowels on occasion, drink too much white wine in the parking lot. But
that's amazing.
But if you're someone who can not, put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Can you use a gas station bathroom? Can you go number 2 in a gas station bathroom?
The worst of all the bathrooms you just named.
Well, but okay, which one? What do you want me to go with? Because
Let's go with a rest stop.
Well, but I think
rest stops are different. Yeah.
Are they?
Because those are a step up. Like, you went to like, I gotta go to a key. This key that I don't want to touch. Like, you named the worst of all the public bathrooms.
Bathroom is pretty
I'd rather do an airport.
Left the date to public on the floor.
Dan, you side of your house.
No, well, I have. This is the worst part about this. I've been there. I don't think we've all been there. I think many people, look, there are two types of people in the world. People who will in a public restroom and people who will not. And if you're willing to in a public restroom, you will also not be able to control your bowels on occasion, drink too much white wine in the parking lot. But
that's amazing.
But if you're someone who can not, put it on the poll at Levitard Show. Can you use a gas station bathroom? Can you go number 2 in a gas station bathroom?
The worst of all the bathrooms you just named.
The worst.
Because
Let's go with a rest stop.
Well, but I think
rest stops are different. Yeah.
Are they?
Because those are a step up. Like, you went to like, I gotta go to a key. This key that I don't want to touch. Like, you name.
Boo. Yes, and he's gonna score.
Public bathroom.
I mean, an airport bathroom is pretty
I'd rather do an airport.
Airport's fine.
Any day of the week, dude. A gas station, dude.
You have
When's the last time you were at a
solids.
shell bathroom?
Guys, the difference is
That wooden key.
At a gas station, you have one choice, one toilet. That's it. When you go to like a rest stop or the airport, you have multiple stalls to choose from.
But then
You open
everybody's
every
taking
door-
next to you.
No, but you
So it's
open
just
every
a row of
Ratio is a lot higher at a
Like,
rest
what am I
stop.
doing? Oh, the guy next to me, can you pass me?
There's a chancleta. You're in my stall with that toe. I see your
Get that toe
toes.
back up there.
No, not Fort Drum. Have you been to Fort Drum lately? Oh,
they renovated, yeah.
The Taj Mahal of rest stops on the turnpike.
Really?
It used to be Fort Pierce. That used to be the place that you stop. Fort Drum. Now you're like, you know what? I can do the extra 25 minutes and get up to Fort Drum because.
Chris Cody, do you think that when people lined up from here to Jacksonville to work for Meadowlark Media, that they imagined a video room that at present is screaming at each other, find Chris Cody's toe in the bathroom stall,
They're scurrying.
find the toe of Chris
I can
Cody.
hear the panic.
Because a row of... This is a good question you've just posed, Tony. It's something to ponder. Would you prefer the privacy of a gas station bathroom, or you got 10 next to each other, right next to
Give
each
me
other?
clean. I can be right next to someone as long if I feel like it's not disgusting, I'm good with
It's
it.
an intimate act. I need more privacy, unless I've had too much white wine and I'm doing it in a parking lot.
But when you're at a gas station bathroom and you only have the one stall, there are people waiting for you.
Yeah.
So then they
Well, not
know
really,
what
because
you
no
did.
one pees at those things. Like, I feel like it's just you're a monster if you go. If I see you waiting at a shell bathroom, I don't know why I keep saying shell.
I know what we need to do. We need to separate the bathrooms. One for just peers, one for just. So if you go in there, you know what
Forget
time it
women
is.
and men. So we all in the same. I like how let's switch it up. We all go in this, like women and men go in the same bathroom, but this one's for pee and this one's for poop. I'm with you, Tony.
David Sampson, you would agree. He's going to join us. You guys would agree. There's no way he ever goes in public.
No.
Correct? He's a germaphobe.
No.
Yeah, he'd rather like pee in his pants.
Yes.
And so if I gave, I want to, am I being someone who is completely out of touch with what it is that I'm talking about when I say that I think airport bathroom and gas station bathroom are in the same family of not pleasant? Like, it's not a big difference. I don't even know if you're going to put someone between, put an experience between those two, what are you doing? Airplane bathroom? An airplane bathroom is pretty unpleasant.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that I just because like
it's tight.
You've been sitting for a couple hours. It's like a nice moment of just like I'm alone right now. I haven't been alone for a couple hours. I sometimes just like stay in there. I stretch up even though there's not a lot of room to stretch. I do like this motion, then just kind of look in the mirror, check the face out, just be like, how are we looking?
You know what this is, Dan? This is sub 6 foot privilege right here. Because you and I, when we get into those bathrooms,
no, they're really uncomfortable.
It is tight.
Yeah, it's tight on the sides, but I'm comfortable in there.
But if we're trying to make some sort of order here, Dan, I think rest stop and airport, those are above gas station, and below gas station is 7-Eleven.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
The 7-Eleven.
I don't care that they serve gas either. It's a different kind of gas station.
You know what's a sneaky good public bathroom is a movie theater bathroom.
Yes.
Not a lot.
Yes.
And there's the toe. For the record, this is not my toe.
How about stadium bathroom?
Stadium. Oh, that's just above gas
that's
station.
terrible.
That's terrible.
Just above.
That is above, barely a gas station bathroom. But
Above
that's the next worst.
Above 7-Eleven?
7-Eleven. I put that into the just gas station.
No.
Like that's the same category.
Big mistake.
Let me ask you guys something about the stadium bathrooms, because I remember in the old Orange Bowl, when you just brought back sort of a visceral memory of me that just singed my eyebrows and made me back away from the microphone, because one of the more unpleasant things I ever saw in childhood was being in the Orange Bowl and seeing what looked like a cattle trough, just a bunch of people urinating into one
Oh, you fucking
tail glass of horror in the center of a room where it's just sort of hard to explain. I don't think we do it anywhere in civilized America this way anymore. But I'm talking about hundreds of people just at the same single center of the room, terrible trough.
Yeah.
Does that come anywhere in modern society anymore? The total trough urinal.
Just you brought it up, and there was alarm sounding, Dan. Like, you can't bring that up anymore. Like, it's banned from the universe. It is the most barbaric thing that they've done to human beings right there.
When did that get eliminated? When did it stop? Billy, when's the last time you were at a group trough urinal where you've just got
when was the urinal when was the individual urinal invented? That's probably when we're talking here. I'll look it up.
No, it's not when we're talking. The original urinal. These things require some privacy. I think.
I don't mind it. I'm never going to see these people again.
He's done this before. He's a confident peer.
I don't care. I'm never going to see these people again. You want to take a gander? Be my guest. Whatever.
Hey, yo.
No pictures. That's where the line is.
The last
worried about
no
the
pictures, please.
I was at the Panthers game a couple weeks ago, and
low on my list.
I was at a urinal full with people, and I did a thing where I like scratched my left shoulder with my chin. It kind of looked. The guy to my right looked at me as if I was trying to peek over.
You're a gander.
No, I was not gandering. I was just trying to itch my. I had an itch on my chin.
Face, you're
I had
a gander.
Am I?
Yeah.
It's good for the geese, you know?
Quality sleep can help boost your reaction time, recovery time, and performance. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is designed for your one-of-a-kind, ever-evolving sleep needs. Only Sleep Number Smart Beds let you choose your ideal comfort.
I was trying to do the low ball, but it wouldn't activate.
More comfortable sleep. Sleep Number Smart Beds learn how you sleep and provide personalized insights to help you sleep better. It's like having a coach for your best sleep. Committed to improving your overall athletic performance? Set a quality sleep goal that's healthy and realistic for your lifestyle. Time your workouts. Sleep Number Smart Beds show your ideal sleep and wake schedule and best times for activities like working out and winding down.
Fourth down plays at work.
Log how long you slept. Sleep Number Smart Beds track
it's short enough. Let's try it. Let's try it.
Your sleep that is restful. Believe it or not, sleeping longer doesn't necessarily equate to more restful sleep. And now, during Sleep Number's President's Day sale, save 50% on a
What
limited
the
edition
hell?
Smart Bed plus special financing for a limited time. Only at Sleep Number stores.
What the
or
hell?
SleepNumber.com. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the National Football League. See stores for details.
If you're looking for plump lips that last, you need to know about Juvederm lip fillers. With Juvederm Volbella XC and Juvederm Ultra XC, your lip look, whether it's subtle or bold, can last up to 1 full year with optimal treatment and no additional maintenance. Find a licensed specialist and see if it's right for you at Juvederm.com today. That's JUVEDERM.com. Add fullness to lips in adults over 21 with Juvederm Volbella XC or Juvederm Ultra XC. Do not use if you have severe allergies or a history of severe allergic reactions, or if you are allergic to lidocaine or the proteins used in Juvederm. Tell your doctor if you have a history of scarring or taking medicines that decrease the body's immune
Bitch, shut the
response or that can
fuck
prolong bleeding.
up. Why would you put needles in your fucking face?
Visit www.juvederm.com.
Don Lebitard.
Oh, I like firing people, so I take the opportunity to fire whenever I possibly can because I can use it as a learning experience for them and try to help them out and try to point out what they did wrong. But in this case, the employee was enough levels below where I was that I did not do the firing, but I had it done within moments of discovery.
I'm just. I love the idea. I like firing people.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
Stugatz.
I'm talking about people who I fire who deserve it, who have done something that actively requires me to fire them. It is my unadulterated pleasure to do so.
This is the
You
Don Lebitard
scum.
Show with the Stugatz.
David Sampson, his podcast is Nothing Personal. There is a ton of good stuff on it. He also does a fairly regular podcast with John Skipper and Pablo Torre about sports business that is better than anything I've heard ever in the history of sports business. We've got some business stuff to get to with David, but he is a noted germaphobe, so let's ask him some of the questions that we were talking about before. In your life, the number of times that you have pooped outside of your specified intimate areas, like either your hotel or your home, anywhere else, number of times, ever?
Countless, because of during long runs, I've had to pull over in backyards of people's homes or on the side of the streets or in the woods. Absolutely. When you're a runner, you know it. If you know, you know. Airports, when you travel a lot, I spend my life in stadiums. I built my own bathroom at Marlins Park, private, that then became Jeter's bathroom. But what I do in airports is that I always go to the handicap stall where it's its own door and you're alone. And that's my first choice. My second choice is that I go to a bathroom that's closed for cleaning, whether it's the male or the female bathroom, and I go in there and I say to the cleaner, I'm so sorry, I have an emergency, and that works 100% of the time, and then you're alone in there.
Lucy,
so I won't sit in a row.
Lucy, your mouth is hanging open because of how he violates the female bathroom.
You just go into... How often are you going into the women's bathroom?
How many times?
Remember, not with women there. If it's, you know, they put a yellow triangle down to stay closed for cleaning. That's the only time I would do that. If the men's room, if there's no individual stall that I can go to, I mean individual, not, I mean like its own door. Then if the women's room is being cleaned and there's no one there, I'll knock and I'll say, hey, but I plan my poops because I have a stomach problem, so I rarely am caught, so to speak, with my pants down.
What's your process when you do have to poop in public? Like, are you like I imagine you are going through crazy to clean, going through crazy extents.
So nothing goes on the floor. I have to check to see whether there's a hook first for any sort of jacket. I put towels, paper towels on the floor where my pants could by chance touch. And then I have layers of stuff on the actual toilet and one across the front.
Try to get calorie involved.
And then I clean everything, including hands, etc., before I even leave the stall.
What's the oddest place you've pooped while running a marathon?
This is a true story. I actually went inside someone's house on the route. And they weren't there, and I clogged the toilet, too. When I am defending my life with Albert Brooks, this is when I will be sent right to hell. Because I won't use a porta potty. And it was right before the New York Marathon, and where you are staged is a Army base. And I actually went into someone's house who was in the Army.
It was a veteran? Oh, my God.
No, an active Army, general.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Lucy, you're mortified.
And it ended up clogging, and it flooded, and I ran. I didn't leave a note, and I think about it to this day, that poor person coming back after volunteering for the New York Marathon, and what I left that person with.
You couldn't waterboard that information out of me. Oh my God!
Well, he didn't want to give it up. I gotta be honest. I've heard that story before. He has told it before, but that's as long as I've ever heard him pause before answering a question, because the shame. I saw the shame rush right back over his face, because a general came home from a hard day's work protecting our country for people like you. He comes home.
Who my toilet?
He's right. Who my toilet? What communist? Shit.
Here's a little nugget, Dan. I chose
one.
the master bathroom.
Oh no.
Because it was nicer.
What do you mean, why?
You were scoping out the bathroom for the general's house?
This is an uncommon horror. Here's the other thing, by the way. The general comes home at that moment.
I thought about that, which is why I left the door open, so I could hear if anyone were coming into the house. I did think about that.
That would have helped you against a trained military man.
Didn't want to get caught with his pants down.
I want you to know that I have no shame for things that I've done in the business world. Met some shame in my personal life, more than I should maybe. But that moment of my life, you'll be proud to know, it's the lowest of the low. It's what I don't want
the Bears have come back and taken the lead over the
fucking remotely proud of that at all.
David, the Baltimore Orioles have sold for $1.7 something billion. The Orioles are selling at a good time because that franchise has been dreadful for this entire century, except for last year. Now they've got a great young...
Not true.
I mean, they've been pretty bad, David. They've been one of...
Oh my God, are you
no?
Go back. You just said century. They had a great run in the 2000s.
2014.
The last quarter century, I feel like they've been pretty bad. Regardless, let's see. We'll look.
Did you forget about 2014 when they went to the ALCS?
That's nothing.
How much of a surprise was it that it sold, and what did you think of the number?
I was shocked at the number. I expected to get a call from Jeffrey, you know, with a, I can't believe that we got Jeter and Sherman to pay 1.2 7 years ago for the Marlins, and now the Orioles are only valued at 1.725. It is not a good number for Major League Baseball at all. They cannot be happy with this transaction. It's a step transaction, which means that this hedge fund private equity guy named David, who is about to be an octogenarian himself, by the way, that doesn't happen until Peter Angelos actually croaks. He only is a limited partner. That's all this announcement is. He's giving money to the Angeloses, letting them take some cash out of the team, getting 40% of the team, but he doesn't get the whole thing until Peter dies. I thought Peter had been dead for half a decade. He's hanging in there, but very much like Bernie, not involved at all. Total dementia. It's very sad. The family has been fighting. There have been lawsuits. So none of it's a surprise, except for the number, which is really, really low. Think about what the NBA franchises recently sold, or the NFL franchises recently sold. It really puts MLB in third place in valuations, and that's not good.
I wanted to talk to you about the ticket prices at the Super Bowl, Stugatz. I don't know if you saw this. I saw this the other day. The most affordable seat, end zone, upper deck, more than $8,000. Wow.
God damn.
Seat that there is. I am stunned, though I should not be, that the Super Bowl and football are in Vegas, because that's something I couldn't have guessed possible 8 years ago. David, what do you make of what a great market this is for this event?
No, I actually just think they're trying to prey on insecure people who want to spend money when they needlessly really don't have to right now. Go back to the F1 in Vegas when those tickets first became available.
Wow.
There were all these packages announced. For $1 million, you can be near the paddock and have 2 nights plus a cocktail, dog, and party. That's what the Super Bowl tickets are right now. They're at their highest. If you're able to hang in there, go to Vegas, play craps with Stu, have fun. The prices will go down as game time approaches. You just have to be prepared to wait. And it's not like it's Indianapolis or a city where there may not be other great things to do, though I love Indianapolis. In Vegas, you can go without a ticket, and if you don't get a ticket, you get to still watch the game at a book and have a great time. So many other options. So I think that these are artificially inflated, and I think you'd be foolish to buy a ticket right now. I hope Meadowlark has not bought tickets for any of the employees to go to the game at those numbers.
Dan bought it for all of us.
Yep.
It was a celebration.
It's a suite.
Unreal. What a waste.
PGA Live update, anything interesting there?
Yeah, there's a call going on right now, live at 9:35 Eastern. Jay Monahan is the best. There's a tournament in LA, or in California right now. So there's a bunch of players there at 6:30 in the morning. But he's doing calls, trying to get ahead of the news that they're bringing in all this money. It's not the Live merger. It's like a sponsorship deal only, but he's trying to not repeat the mistakes of the past where Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy were not informed of the Live merger. So he's doing these calls right now, literally, so the players hear about John Henry, and there is Saudi money coming into PGA and how great it's going to be. But this is not newsworthy at all. It is them basically selling shares of their entity in order to bring money in to increase purses and make it more palatable for players to stay at PGA versus run to Live.
We have 2 minutes left. Your choice on what we talk about, whether it's Skydance buying Paramount,
Yes,
or
sir.
whether it is your movie review.
The Skydance is a much longer conversation I'd love to have with all of you about the consolidation, and we may talk about it on the next
Second one.
class. I'd like to review a movie for people to see because we spend time, and Mike Ryan's not here today, but we spend time going through all the crap that Nicolas Cage does. The most prolific movie star that I've ever seen. There's always a new movie of his. He's in one called Dream Scenario. And if you're not going to watch, Butcher's Crossing, and Pig was good, but all the other stuff that he's been doing, please watch Dream Scenario. And know, number one, that's his real hair. He changes his hair, shaves his head, grows his hair in weird ways in order to get into character, and he gets to choose what his character is like. And I want you to imagine what it would be to have Nicolas Cage in your dreams every night, where you cannot escape him, and that they're bad dreams. It's the biggest nightmare ever, but a great performance by Nicolas Cage. I give him credit for taking all of these movies, for doing all of them, and every once in a while, a clock is right. God, I just mix my metaphors. What is it? You can lead a blind nut to a squirrel? Whatever the expression is.
You nailed the dismount. My father likes to say, but, that's the way the cookie bounces. But he's doing it in his second language, so it's somewhat forgivable. That movie was a very creative choice. It was good because many reasons, but Nicolas Cage doesn't often play a total schlub who disgusts you, and he was a schlub and wildly unpleasant. David, thank you for being on with us. We will talk to you again next week, sir.
All right, take care.
You liked that movie, huh? You liked it, Chris?
I actually haven't seen it, but everyone, Adnan loved it, and I want to see it.
Adnan and Samson united.
That's his real hair? Hey, folks, it's Mike Ryan. And as you know, Miller Lite is my favorite beer. So when I have friends in from out of town like I had last week, and the weather was a brisk 68 degrees outside, we went out, and I cracked open those beautiful white cans, and I knew immediately it was the right call. It made the
You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, this year the big game is not just for football fans. It's time to go all in on food. Tums and DraftKings have teamed up to create a free-to-play pool so you can get in on the action and keep on snacking.
Give
There's a
Hardy
share
a
of
chance.
$10,000 up for grabs. To take home the cheddar, just make the right picks about
Oh
America's
my
game day
God.
grub. Play free in the Tums Prop Bites pool on DraftKings to score big without the burn. Learn more at TumsPropBites.com. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com
Okay,
for
good.
details.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
A podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Levitard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference
It was a little too far for a field goal from my
I've been
rookie.
tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's
400
fries.
yards.
If
Not
they're just
happening.
there. If that hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's
War
the
picks.
marching man to nowhere, Fatface,
Down
and
picking
the
for
habitual liar.
One of the things that
Jason
Kendrick Perkins said
and Uncle Tom.
is send Jimmy Butler to a team that can win the championship. And when people say that, just a team that can win the championship, that number this
5
year
of us.
is 5. And keep in mind, I have to push the Knicks out, even though it might be the best Knicks team
Ah,
I've seen
fuck,
in
we got a
25
Ravens.
years.
Right.
I have to push the Knicks out because in that sport, I don't want to be a 4 seed when I know that the top 3 seeds, when I know Philadelphia, Boston, and Milwaukee, when they feel better than I am as a team, I get worried. And I think most people listening to this, even though the Knicks have been 13-2 since those trades and look really good, they are pounding people.
Yes.
I don't believe that even delusional Knick fan expects to get through the gauntlet of Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Boston. You don't feel like you might be hopeful, but you don't think you can actually win the championship. You can hope, but you don't think it's a realistic possibility, and your team is very good.
Very good. They've won 8 straight. They've won 9 of 10.
Is it Jarvis Landry again?
Separated shoulder. They still won a couple of games since then.
No, Chris Ryan.
I have no delusions that the Knicks are going to make it or win an NBA title, in large part because the Celtics, Bucks, and Sixers are so good. So those are the 3 teams. Who are the other teams in the West? Like, you have the Clippers, you have Denver, and that's about it.
I mean, the
right?
Thunder are also
You think the
really
Thunder
good.
can win the NBA title?
I mean, look, I think that their chances are better than the Knicks. I would put the Thunder at I would put the Thunder in the conversation. Obviously, they've got to learn. They got to do the stuff Sacramento's doing, but they are overwhelmingly good. And don't forget Minnesota. Don't throw Minnesota out either. They've been just as good as everybody in the league this year.
And Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix has a shot. They
Okay,
did.
but the Knicks aren't in that group, is what I'm saying. And you just don't want to be a 4 seed.
I mean, the Heat made it to the finals last year being in that same spot. No one gave them a chance before. And doesn't seeing the Heat do it maybe give you, I mean...
No.
Okay.
No.
Has a 4 seed ever won the title? I think a 5 seed as Elijah won a title.
1969 Boston Celtics were the only 4 seed in NBA history to win a title.
My point is, Stugotz, it's no disparagement of the Knicks. It's just an odd purgatory. It's the best the Knicks have been, but it's a weird purgatory to be in when you know in your conference there are 3 teams better than you. So now you gotta maybe you win one home playoff series. Now you're playing game 7s on the road against teams that are better than you.
Right.
And a lot of teams trip before they get there. But the Knicks fans should have more reason for enthusiasm now than they have since, like, the Allen Houston teams and Latrell Sprewell team.
Yes.
This team is better than anything Carmelo played for and Amari Stoudemire played for.
You just gave me this weird moment where I just saw the Dolphins and everything you're talking about. Best team in 20 years, but still not good enough to beat the good teams in their conference.
But, Chris, I answered that quickly to your question of you can't see the Knicks. The Heat just did it only because of the teams ahead of them. Like, I just can't see the Knicks. As good as they played, I cannot see them beating Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown or Giannis and Damian Lillard. I just can't see it. I hope they get far. I hope they get to the second or third round. That'd be great. I can't see it make it. I cannot see that team, led by Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, making it to the NBA Finals. I just can't.
It's early in the season still.
Well, it's not.
What? No, it's early that you're not paying attention. It's football season, so you're not fully paying attention. Give you
the Knicks have caught my attention here.
Yeah, give you 2 to 3 weeks of uninterrupted attention to basketball, and you will convince yourself that the Knicks will go on a run.
All right. What is it about Jalen Brunson that I just don't buy him as like a number 1?
He's small.
Yeah.
And it's the lefty thing too.
Well, I like a lefty. I do.
There's just something there.
He's great. A lot of people are mad that Damian Lillard is in the All-Star game and not him. Knicks fans should be mad. That guy has exceeded every expectation. Every single expectation there was. I think he caught everyone off guard with how he played last postseason after catching everyone off guard with the way he played all regular season last year. Clearly and obviously a leader who didn't need Luka to be a special kind of great.
Speaking of Luka, did you hear what Jason Kidd had to say about Luka? What a joke.
Well, tell the people first before you go. Just hold on, slow down. Hold on.
Let's do Jeopardy.
Hold on.
You give the take, and then we say, what is Jason Kidd ripping
Lucy,
Luka?
He has to be kidding me.
Lucy, all right, Stugotz, you're like a puppy that starts to run on a tile floor, and all 4 of its feet are moving.
I was getting to it.
Well, but yeah, you were going to say what a joke. What he said was before you said what he said.
What a joke, though. I mean,
okay, but Lucy, would you care to guess? Do you know what this take is that Stugotz is objecting to?
I do not, and I do not have a good guess, which defeats the purpose of you asking me. Sorry about that.
I mean, he can't be serious.
Okay, what
did he say?
What he has said is that Luka is better than Dirk Nowitzki. That's not the part that I thought That's not the part I thought you would object to. And on the same tier as Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Yeah, he's not. First off, LeBron's not on Michael's tier. Luka's not on anyone's tier, okay?
Wait a minute.
What?
What do you mean he's not on anyone's tier?
What tier is he on?
He doesn't get to be on anyone's tier.
He's not the greatest Maverick of all time. He is not to be mentioned in the same sentence as LeBron or Michael Jordan. LeBron should not be in the same sentence as Michael.
What if the sentence is Luka shouldn't be in the same sentence as LeBron?
That's the only sentence he belongs in when it relates to those two. Okay?
Stu, this is a tough take on the heels of him having the greatest shooting performance of all time.
I don't care.
Since Luka shot a true shooting percentage of 90% with 73 points, that's the best ever.
Right.
Wilt Chamberlain was second with 73% in 1963.
Right.
No three-pointers.
Win a playoff series, go to the finals, win a ring, do something. You cannot be top 5. You cannot be a top 5 Maverick and better than Dirk. Dirk is a Hall of Famer. First
Ooh.
ballot Hall of Fame. He's not better than Dirk.
He's better than Dirk.
Dirk won a title. Dirk won a
JJ
title.
Barea won a title.
Dirk won a
Oh,
title.
he brought out one of his big guns on you, Tony. Stand down.
You can't do it.
Dirk won a title.
He's not even in my top 5 Mavericks of all time. I have that list, by the way.
I was hoping this is where we were going.
Stand down, Tony. He just walked into the
Ah.
and took a shit.
Luka does skate on most criticism. Like, when's the pressure gonna, like, he's been playing, what, for 4 or 5 years now? Has he gotten to a conference final?
It's not 4 or 5 years yet.
It's been like 3 or 4, though. Right? We started
He's
asking
been anointed for a while now. I'm just saying, when's the pressure get on him of, like, hey, win something?
Right. LeBron had that pressure year 3.
He's been on the Mavs since 2018.
Billy.
6 years.
No.
That's 6.
Come on. Come on.
It hasn't been 4 or 5 years.
How many games was he playing in 2018? Don't cheat with your little...
I mean, numbers never lie, Dan.
Also, Dirk averaged 26, 9, and 3 in the NBA Finals.
Dirk created an entire shot. He invented a shot.
Amin Al-Hassan, he's the first person of that size playing that way. Maybe
Schmidt would like a word.
Garnett? Okay. Close enough.
Luka back in 2000.
How many games was he playing in 2018? Don't cheat with your little...
I mean, numbers never lie, Dan.
Adrenaline check
Also,
down.
Dirk averaged 26, 9, and 3 in the NBA Finals.
Dirk created an entire shot. He invented a shot.
Amin Al-Hassan, he's the first person of that size playing that way. Maybe
Schmidt would like a word.
Garnett?
Garth Schmidt would like a word with you.
Close enough.
Luka back in 2018 played 32 minutes a game, averaged 21.2 points. I mean,
when's the noise going to start, Dan?
All right, Amin Al-Hassan will be here in a second.
We don't need him. We're having a good conversation.
Amin Al-Hassan will come in. Amin Al-Hassan will come in serving a punishment from the righteous gemstones, I am told. And I look forward to getting his expertise on this instead of you and I gasbagging, because I'm startled by how outraged you are about this. I do like, and this has been quite the surprise, somewhere Stugatz's sports takery has gotten reinvigorated. Because he did this with Joe Mauer in the Hall of Fame last week, and now he's getting outraged by comments again. I've missed my friend. He's been numbed.
Yeah,
the
kick meter.
pandemic took a lot
And
out
better
of him.
holding onto the ball.
The lacrosse,
Oh
Chicago's
my
below
God.
freezing every time he flies, but he's thawed now. He's come out of hibernation.
it wasn't a comment. It was a joke. I mean, seriously.
You said it was a joke that what Jason Kidd...
And a bad one.
You guys have to understand what's happening here. My old partner rumbles to life. Jason Kidd exists only as a thing to say, this guy is slightly as good as this guy, and then Stugatz pulls out the bazookas, drops to a couple of knees in his back, baby. He's here to stay.
He gets back in the bedroom, but he does the same sexual move over and
That's
over
right.
again.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, this guy that's playing today, he's nothing compared to the guy from 10 years ago.
It's my wife's chief criticism.
And mine, both your marriages suffer from the same particular affliction, boring sex.
Hey, yo.
You have to understand, one of the things that's reinvigorating God Bless Football, award-winning God Bless Football Stugatz, and Stugatz, who is the star of the proceedings.
Wow. Are you fucking serious?
He's always wanted to be Russo. And this is the way that Stugatz ages, and this is the way, when talking about analytics, that Chris Mad Dog Russo ages.
You could have been in a situation where you'd be playing in a Super Bowl. Super Bowl. And those poor fans in Michigan, this ruins their year. Listen, I shouldn't say that because you'll probably get over it. But you tell me right now, if you are a Lions fan, you tell me right now, for the next month, when they get this game played and everything else, the month of February, what are you going to be thinking about? Beating Baker Mayfield or the fact you had the Niners dead to rights? My God almighty! Pay attention, Campbell! Jesus, I mean, this is ridiculous! And I know we like you, Dan. You're a nice guy. You represent the city of Detroit, blue collar, tough. Oh, we get all the nonsense. But manage the game properly. You have a chair. I understand it's a long field goal, 2 40-yarders, but your kicker's good. You have you got a chance to go back up by 3 scores, and you go for it on 4th down, and then all the dopes on Twitter are backing you up. The data freaks who wouldn't know Laporte for Paul Brown.
Such an
Kenny Stabler.
old man take. Ugh. Y'all get on my damn nerves.
That's not how you do football.
Oh my god. That's such a shit take.
God, what a loss.
That's a
They always want everything to go back to the way the world was back then, but it's never gonna change.
We are not worthy.
You don't want to regress.
Do you love that Dan Campbell unintentionally became the patron saint of animals?
Well,
When
that
he's
fucking
never once
sucks.
looked at those.
It's so good.
I love his apology for saying Jesus.
He is a
Cut
he
for
is a
me
Catholic.
when he gets going and starts stammering so I could play with that sound in the next segment.
It's a dead to right.
Let's go!
He is a magician.
Let's get it, baby!
And I don't understand
Thank you, sports
how his
fanatic.
battery doesn't ever go to empty. I mean, autogram?
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz is sponsored by BetterHelp. Folks, imagine a person who values their relationship with someone deeply. They might have encountered challenges in communication, understanding, or differing perspectives over time. A common misconception about relationships is that they have to be easy to be right. But sometimes the best ones happen when both people put in the work to make them great. Therapy can be the place to work through the challenges you face in all your relationships, whether it's with friends, work, or your significant other, or just anyone in your life. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. It's important to note that every relationship is unique, and the strategies employed may vary based on the individuals involved. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit BetterHelp.com/DLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DLB.
Dan Le Batard.
That's how it's going to end. The mailing it in end of the retirement, Chris, go get me this. It's just going to be him coming out and hitting the 1 and 2 notes of that kind of thing, and you know it, and then just giving us finger guns and leaving.
Baby.
You should listen to the Great Cody Show podcast because that's all we
Let's
do.
get it, baby.
55 minutes a week is just say catchphrases. We even make songs about them. And you know it is a song, for crying out loud. That's great. Hopefully that's a Suey nominee for best song. And you know it, baby, and you know it.
Stu Gatz.
And you know it, baby, and you know it. Is it? And you know it, baby, and you know it. Is it? And you know it, baby, and you know it.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stu Gatz.
In the middle of the night, 2:30 in the morning is the middle of the night, right? It's not the morning, it's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
LeBron James, put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. 2:30 a.m. Middle of the night or middle of the morning?
I feel like
that might be 100%.
Yeah, no, I feel like mid-morning is like, 10 o'clock.
AM is morning. AM is morning, is it not?
I think for what Dan's talking about, 4 a.m. is when it's not last night anymore. It's early morning. Like,
Right.
If I'm waking up at 4 a.m. for a flight, it's the morning.
When does the morning end? At noon?
Like 3:59. Oh, no, I get what you're saying. In the back end, yeah,
Right.
11:59.
So mid-morning is roughly...
Let's rock it, baby.
At 11:59 p.m.?
No, a.m.
A.m., yeah.
In the middle of the morning last night, LeBron James tweeted an hourglass. I love that. I love it.
What does he mean by that?
What do you think he means by that?
I know what he means.
That the
Time's running out.
The Super Bowl's getting a lot of attention, and he wants to still be in the news.
Can he just sleep? Can he just sleep?
Sleep, enjoy a Sunday night dinner with the family, do anything. Enough of this.
And wait a minute. It said 2:30. Does that mean that's your 2:30? So he's on the West Coast.
No,
That's
they were
11:30.
they were in Atlanta.
Okay,
Oh,
and then
never mind.
and then they're going to Boston.
Right.
So they were probably about to hop on a bird, or they were on a bird, and he was bored, and he was like, "Watch this, gang."
Mm-hmm.
And then
A single emoji of controversy.
It's interesting. Someone asked me, a friend of mine asked me, if the Knicks could get LeBron James next year, would you want him? And I said no.
You're a liar.
No, the window is closed. Shut up. He's a looter and a riot. I'm serious. I know he's putting up great numbers.
Let my boy cook.
There's no one on that team. There is absolutely nobody on that team.
Anthony Davis is playing all the games and is still very good.
I understand. And the team's not very good because LeBron's not as good as he used to be. I don't want to deal with LeBron at the age of 39, 40, 41. You had your chance to come to the Knicks. It's not like he's floating the idea out there. A friend asked me. So I don't know why I'm blasting him. I just don't want him anymore. Because the second you get him, you know what you get? In the middle of the morning, okay? You get, some sort of, hey, clock is ticking. I don't want to deal with the clock is ticking. I want Jalen Brunson to be Jalen Brunson.
It's not a
I want Randall to be Randall.
Are you fucking serious?
It's a measurement of time.
It is.
Right.
Are you fucking serious?
Measurement of time. Okay. I want Brunson to be Brunson. I want Thibodeau to be Thibodeau. I don't want LeBron coming in thinking he can get rid of Thibodeau.
Ah, shut up, Stigats. Your takes are
He's
shit.
turned the Knicks around. I do not want LeBron James. Don't want him.
You don't want a measurement of time, but you're going to be with Flavor Flav at the Super Bowl, who's famous for his measurement of time.
Pretty fucking embarrassing to do with an 80-yard touchdown to him like that. It's not even that bad. Just fucking great.
If somebody is
the last championship that anybody played for.
Yeah.
If somebody has
Do it in the regular season.
If somebody has one of these hourglasses or minute glasses on their desk and they use it in a real way, like when someone walks in, all right, let's have a conversation. All right, let's flip this. Like, I want to punch you in the face.
Nobody does that. Nobody.
Nah, there are people out there. People with a lot of people with corner offices. You walk into a corner office, they flip over it's probably like a minute, 2 minutes, and they go, all right, your time starts here. Go ahead. What do you got?
But Dan, don't you think, like, you're 39, the act has gotten old. Like, you have an opt-in next year, a player opt-in at $51 million. If you're the Lakers, you're like, all right, if he opts in, great. If he opts out, great.
Windhorse is saying that it's not a certainty that he will come back. And last night, the hourglass, or yesterday morning, or this morning,
mid-morning.
Whatever, mid-morning.
Can you design an hourglass for a specific time? Because we could do one for our segment lengths. Yeah. Like, could we do one for 12 minutes and 30 seconds, and then we flip it over?
Damn, that's a long segment. 12 minutes.
How many grains of sand would be 12 minutes and 20 seconds? That's for you to find out.
Well, how big is the sand? How fine is it?
Chris Cody, can you get for me, please, the
How
sound
many yards?
of Mad Dog stammering? Where was this in his hysteria? He is rage-filled. He doesn't understand. It's one of the funniest things.
Okay, he has 60 so far.
Sports, and you and Cody bring it to life every Tuesday. Being vigilantly against information. It's just so, being angrily.
It's more fun just to yell out, I don't agree!
I know, it's one of the greatest things I've seen in sports.
Too much.
Just rage about, that's it.
On Twitter are backing you up. The data freaks who wouldn't know Lombardi for Paul Brown. Never heard of Otto Graham. Kenny Stabler, Madden. Wouldn't know him if they fell on him.
If Madden fell on you, you wouldn't know.
You would know.
They do football via math. That's not how you do football. Oh my God, what a loss.
This is so good, Dan and Stugats, because we're probably going to talk to him next week at Radio Row, right? So, like, this is very good for, like, note-taking so you know exactly what to set him off with. Like, I already...
The data freaks...
I have just written down, mention an abacus.
Fuck.
Lombardi for Paul Brown! Never heard of Otto Graham! Kenny Stabler, Madden. Wouldn't know him if they fell on him.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Would you know if a dead John Madden fell on you?
He's wrong about that one, but the others are
my God. Would you recognize a dead John Madden if he fell on you?
I missed.
Oh, my God. Again. Just so that you know, because that's $10,000 a show on First Take, and it's a second job, and underpaid.
No doubt.
And underpaid.
Finally,
Aggressively against information. He stopped gathering information in 1974 with Daryl LaMonica, and that's where the whole thing ended.
Dopes on Twitter are backing you up. The data freaks.
The data freaks. You freak.
Hell yeah. Who's the freakiest data guy out there? Just getting dirty with it.
He's been using some of those same names
since then. That's right.
80s.
Since inventing sports radio.
And I still laugh.
Yes.
You want to know autograph?
Put a picture up of Autogram so that people can see what's happening here.
Oh, yeah.
Autogram was one ugly motherfucker.
Is that Autogram or is it LaMonica?
The data freaks.
It's Autogram.
Alright.
Again, in the days of
That dude
Face
was
Mask.
ugly. He looked like a deformed chicken.
Chris Cody, one of the
Probably will get canceled for that, but I don't care. I'm black. I can criticize other black people.
I said that Tom Brady was in decline 8
Oh,
years before he
finally. I'm pissed off giving him 100 fucking yards to Lamar Jackson.
recent Mahomes takery to be more wrong somehow than I was. Both of us deadly wrong on two of the greatest quarterbacks anyone has ever seen. I have asked Chris Cody to put together a segment that is just you're wrong, the most wrong person of the week. And he's gotten some imaging. It takes weeks around here to get anything done. We finally got some imaging. Can you guys help me pick which?
This is Justin Tucker. He has the greatest leg ever. He's
I'm gonna play the first one here.
But it is windy. See what I tell you? Sam Howell. Whoa, Cunningham put me on my ass.
Lovely, a little slower.
85 yards in the first quarter. God damn.
What else? You want something a little more something to it? Man, Yeti really belting that one out, dude.
What the
Are we
fuck?
gonna do better than that? Let's see if we can do any better than that.
I was gonna play that one. I mean, Yeti is just got that from the loins, Dano.
I can feel. I hear his loins. I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I hear his loins. It's his loins are singing. It's not him. Anyway, that started.
Well, that was easy. Did that in the first quarter. Okay.
Nothing brings our listeners more.
Bro, that was a touchdown. I gotta do it again.
And now we have one for when Greg Cody is wrong.
Come on now, this is Thomas. He was hawked? What the fuck?
So the leader in the clubhouse this week is
For me, this is just like this is gonna be the leader in the clubhouse until we hear something better.
We are debuting the segment, and this right now is our first ballot Hall of Famer. And I remember, I think the wrestler's name, the champion wrestler, Anthony Robles, he won a heavy division with one leg. And it was the Sports Center play of the day, because you had to beat the play of the day for like the whole year, because good luck beating that. All right, good luck beating this, people.
Go ahead, Andy Reid. I dare you to go 14-2 and allow Alex Smith to leave Arrowhead Stadium to leave Kansas City. Go ahead, I dare you. Because of Patrick Mahomes. Because you think you could turn Patrick Mahomes into something that Alex Smith is not. Alex Smith is a very good quarterback. The audacity, first off, to do this to Alex Smith, who's been very good and loyal to Andy Reid and won him a lot of football games. To dangle Patrick Mahomes out there because Andy Reid thinks he's some sort of quarterback whisperer, which he's not, by the way. He is not, because if he was, Alex Smith would be better than he's been the last few years. So I dare.
I mean, that's a record for contradiction.
It's on Andy Reid.
That is
the only reason Alex Smith is not better than Andy Reid.
That's a world record for Stugatz not paying attention to any of the things he said the sentence before. This game's not going to work. We're not. You're wrong. We're not going to be able to beat that, though. I mean, it's not. You are so wrong.
It's unbeatable.
That's not the way to start this.
The year after Stugatz said that, Mahomes threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
He's about to play in his fourth Super Bowl.
How fucking stupid do you look now? Wow.
He's 4-2.
Tom Brady wins again. God damn it!
It's been a 6.
Quality sleep can help boost your reaction time, recovery time, and performance. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is designed for your one-of-a-kind, ever-evolving sleep. Smart Beds track the total time you sleep and the
That's up to 1 full year with optimal treatment and no additional maintenance. Find a licensed specialist and see if it's right for you at Juvederm.com today. That's JUVED. Blindness, stroke,
my
scabs, or
God.
spine.
Well, thank you.
For information, visit www.juvederm.com.
First fumble of the day.
It's
And a lovely cruise.
Oh man, that's my
Outro.
That's
Jesus.
you know, as my casket is being lowered. Jesus. You know.
But I mean,
Cremated a week before, but we'll do the casket thing just for show. And as my casket.
I like Greg Cote, and it would be so sad when he dies.
Oh man, that's my.
The show would never be the same without him.
For full important safety.
I don't want to think about that right now, man. I ain't be thinking about that.
Don Lebatard.
It's
Been a long
cruise. Oh man, that's my outro. That's you know, as my casket is being lowered. Jesus. You know, I'll have been cremated a week before, but we'll do the casket thing just for show. And as my casket is being lowered,
Whoa, empty casket?
Yeah, it'll be empty, you know, just for show.
Well, what's the redundancy there?
You know, I mean, we're gonna put on a public display.
Yeah, naturally.
Stugatz.
Oh my God.
You're
going on lovely cruise.
Exactly. Maybe
I'm
we'll
not
throw
doing
him over. My wife will throw him overboard.
I would
She's
assume.
necking with her new husband.
This is the Dan Lebatard Show with the Stugatz.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see if my guy has the leg. I want to see.
I pictured Yeti sort of like the Bradley Cooper, Leonard Bernstein character in the opera.
Come on.
Just
hanging microphone.
He's so happy.
Look, I don't like kicking field goals that much, but I gotta get my kicker up.
Under his ass comes to life and just births a volcano of song.
That trailing.
But that starts in the floor. It's like a pitching motion of someone who throws 140 miles an hour. Like it comes through his bottom. We've got to get to the Iowa correspondent like no others, Stugatz. We are cornering the market everywhere in the universe in Iowa news. No one in sports covers it better than we do nationally. Give her the imaging when Chris Cody tried to grab something from his loin.
Lucy Rodine, Iowa correspondent.
Lucy Rodine. Lucy Rodine.
Lucy Rodine, Iowa correspondent.
How did he fit that in there?
Iowa football program.
We have bad news, Dan. Normally, I try to be upbeat, try to be positive, try to be lovely. Not today. Because after 3 months, Iowa hired an offensive coordinator. And they hired one who got fired for being really bad at offense.